If I'ma talk, I'ma keep it real. Me and my boys, we would split a pill. Noodles and pots in a pot was a nigga meal. Now that we on, we gon' split a meal. I'll take a jet when I'm overseas. None of my girls gon' get over me. Shout out to Hawk, shout out Julie, shout out Hennessy. Them be my bros till the death of me. Nobody know how I really be. I got some bars for a nigga if you wanna see. Dress up your talk if a nigga wanna talk to me. Fuck your phone calls, I don't want apologies. Everyone said, yeah, they said I was gonna peak. Most number ones in a nigga league. I think your girl fell in love with me. She say my fuck and my tongue gave a remedy. Oh, yeah. I just hit a lick and I know you feeling some way. I just took that chick and I know you feeling some way. Oh yeah, she just want a nigga like me. You feeling some way. She just want a nigga like me. I ain't playing no way.
We got him feeling some way. Cause he see Axel in the place, total way. I gotta get myself together, it's a date. I spent 2,000 on a sweater. Wait, I think the belt inside the store look better on my waist. I think my nuts look better on her face. His bitch got addicted, all she did was take a taste. Now you get mad because you got replaced. The bomb boy and the star boy on the track. Haters gonna say this shit is whack. I went to the hill straight from the trap. I'm a fucking bitch and give her back. She pop pills, I told her stop it. Check my little pocket, I got options. I'm the first brown boy to get it poppin'. If I say the word, my shooter's gonna pop it.
Oh, yeah. I just hit a lick and I know you feeling some way. I just took that chick and I know you feeling some way. Oh, yeah. She just want a nigga like me. You feeling some way. She just want a nigga like me. I ain't playing no games.
Today, we're going to talk about NFL and college football weekend plays, MLB and college football for tonight, and of course, the squad ride. This is Behind the Lines. Well, Chad, I thought we were going to get through an entire football game without Jalen Hurts doing something stupid, but then he did this. How are people still in on the Eagles? It makes no sense. This team is a fraud. Jalen Hurts is a fraud. Sirianni is a fraud. This defense is bad. Jalen Hurts has lost a step. He had one good season. Be realistic. This guy's a pick machine. He's inaccurate, and he's not a great passer. Jalen Hurts is a fraud, and so are the Eagles. Go ahead and give me the Rockies on the ML. And I want to fade Arizona once again. No chance they lose a second game in a row to the Rockies, right? No chance.
Snell's locked in, Krabs. The Orioles bats are awful. We're taking it. More so just to make dudes pissed off. Really is why I'm taking it.
I mean, gentlemen, the White Sox are 35-115. They've won 10% of their games for the season in the last 3 fucking games. Whoever is in charge of that squad, organization, program, minor leagues, major leagues, should be fired and not allowed in the sport ever again.
Say I'm the biggest, the largest. Been stepping up since my mama stayed in them apartments, regardless.
What's going on, chat? Welcome to BTL Friday, the best BTL of the week, episode 564 piece. As always, hold the fry, joined by your two hosts, Krabs and Jovan, presented by Bookit Sports. If you're not tracking your bets on Bookit, what are you doing? Do you live under a rock? Start tracking your bets on Bookit today. All right, change your life for the better. Start holding yourself accountable and tracking your bets over there on Bookit. Could not be easier. Could not be a better, cleaner app. Okay, Jovan, how we doing? Happy Friday. Chat, how we doing? Vibes are up. Squad ride smacked.
Yes, W Krabs.
Sure. W play, W guards, W Lane Thomas. How about it?
Rare.
Great to see a good guy get one.
Extremely rare.
Great to see a good guy get one.
Lane Thomas,
right? Nobody deserves it more.
On trees, dude.
No, they don't. No, they definitely don't. Vibes are high, like chat's saying. WA lads. We got Trice Picks coming in with a resub. Let's have a weekend. Yes, sir. We got Oxymoron guy coming in, dropping a fucking subby as well during TMA. Love to see it. And guys, if you missed TMA, you can always go back and rewatch on the YouTube as well. W Chelly, W Rav, W Mikey. Hop it on TMA earlier today, and W Joshi as well. Love to see it. Love to see it. Let's just go ahead and power through these recaps so we can get to the good stuff. the winners for the people because I feel really good about my weekend plays. I do, Jovan. Let's keep powering through here. Let's go to the Sharp Report recap. We'll go take a peep at that. Solid day for me, 3-2. Jovan, not your best work, but I have a feeling you're bouncing back today with some winners on a diversified portfolio.
Yeah, I could sit on a bitching session for a lot of those hooks, but we got shit to go through. So no steam session today. Glad you carried and got us a squad ride win.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker, that square hurt. I'll just leave it at that.
That was probably the only one I will say I just won't bitch about. The other ones were incredibly annoying.
Yeah. Kenneth Walker never had a chance. I'd rather it be that case than have him be hooked. That's for sure. And yeah, that under. God, I thought it had a pulse there at the end, but shit. Let's move. Let's groove. Let's go to the king of the board plays here. Jovan, I believe you cashed another one. Yep, that probably is all she wrote for king of the board this week. 4 now for Jovan to get it started. Unbelievable. And I took Ayuk at plus chicken last night trying to get cute, and that guy stinks. That guy stinks. He's been begging to get paid all fucking offseason. Doesn't do anything for the squad all year. Come on. Hasn't scored a touchdown. Give me a break. Brandon Ayuk, step up, man. Costing us coins. We do have something good to recap, though, gents. How about the 10Xer on Prize Picks that we smacked once again yesterday? Back-to-back days, we smacked a 10Xer, chat. Those don't grow on trees. Those do not grow on trees. Jovan, might not have been the best day on the Sharp Report, but we made up for it on Prize Picks here. Great fucking work.
Yeah,
great call on some of these squares, man.
Squares. Messer was greatest of all time. Sharp call Finn Gino on his birthday. You got the free coin meat square in there, and then rared Cole and Yankees W's.
Sure. Great 4-piece. My goodness. I mean, the college receiver you took, and he had over 100 yards. Great fucking play. It was always fading Gino on his birthday. When the lights are bright, Gino, he absolutely stinks. He absolutely stinks the place up.
Really?
The hockey square, shout out Free Coin doing his job. Let's fucking go. And then Garrett Cole coming through on his fantasy score with an absolute fucking gem. Hilarious watching Garrett Cole during that, outburst, I guess, between Jazz and, whoever the hell was chirping on the Royals. I forget who it even was. But, gosh, man, seeing Garrett Cole chase him around the field, the base runner, hilarious. You see him walk off the mound and just start walking toward the base runner?
Yeah.
When they were fighting and the bench is cleared? I love that out of Garrett Cole. Backing up his guys. Dude's a fucking monster on the mound. I'll give him that.
I'll
give him that.
It's your World Series champion starting pitcher there, Krabs. Say it.
Okay. Great. Yep. Already seen it. Let's just hope it's a Subway Series and I can cash that Mets bet. All right. We got a minute for me to bitch about something. Shouldn't take long.
Of course.
Sure. Goodsy, run that shit. Yeah, I had the under in this game. I'm just going to say it. I did. It was a pretty good day yesterday overall. We hit some bets. We hit the squad rides. We smacked the 10Xer on Prize Picks, but I did have real coins on the under in Middle Tennessee State and Louisiana Tech, and I'm here to talk about it. Yeah, this kid's coming off the fucking streets. Redshirt freshman. How about a 6-touchdown performance for Evan Bullock? Unbelievable. The guy had the best game of his fucking life, high school included. Insane. You can't make it up, dude. Middle Tennessee State might be that bad. They might be that bad. This goes to show you, if you don't have any NIL coins, you are fucking toast. You are toast in this economy. You can't keep up. Middle Tennessee State, they used to be a respectable program. They hang around in games. They play a little bit of defense. They force some turnovers. Not anymore, because anybody with a fucking pulse on that roster over the last year or so has transferred to a school that's actually paying them coins. Middle Tennessee State, keep them off to the sides unless you're taking overs or fading them. They're that fucking bad. I mean, you can't be having Evan Bullock go off like that, turning into Pat Mahomes. Unbelievable, dude. I mean, Louisiana Tech, they almost cashed the over themselves. The under 49.5. Whoa, under 49.5. I mean, they scored 48 points. They almost hit the over themselves. Terrible play. One of the only bad reads I had yesterday. But look, guys, if you can't make fun of yourself, you don't have a good sense of humor. And that was a moose play. Apologies to anybody who tailed. Jesus.
Yeah, Middle Tennessee State. People forget they beat Miami not too long ago. That program since then has been in quail.
Toast. Aries said apologies accepted. W's. That's all I needed to hear. We can move. We can groove. All right. Let's get into the Sharp Report for today, gents. We got a lot to go over, like I said. We'll go over our plays that we like for today, obviously. And then we're going to get Rav on here again. All right. He had a pretty solid week, pretty solid debut. We'll get him on here again for some college football, and then we'll talk some NFL plays for the weekend as well. And don't forget about the squad ride. We're going to craft up a winner for tonight and for tomorrow as well on the college football gridiron. Okay, loaded slate tomorrow. Excited to dive in. All right, why don't we get started with some plays for today? And why not start out with a nasty under? Okay, tale as old as time. Give me the under in Northwestern and Maryland here, gents. I thought it was kind of weird seeing the over in this spot get peppered with bets and that total really not moving here much. Although it did move from that original opener, but that was from a couple weeks ago, 42.5. We really haven't seen the total move this week that much. And if you look at the matchups historically versus Northwestern and Maryland, typically Northwestern hangs around, they cover, they outsmart Maryland. I don't know what it is, but they typically either win outright as crazy dogs or they at least cover in this game. And the games go over as well. Points are typically scored 3 of the last 4 matchups over the years between these two squads. The over has absolutely soared. Well, these teams are coming off a bye, right? Maryland's coming off a bye. Northwestern's coming off of a game where there was 65 points total against Indiana, but Indiana did most of the workload there. I think Northwestern's defense isn't as bad as they've showed this season. Indiana, I think, might just be really good. And I think Northwestern, after getting spanked and embarrassed in that game, they also haven't covered in a month. They're due for a solid performance, and Northwestern's probably not doing it on offense, in my opinion. I think their defense shows up minimally, and Maryland coming off a bye, everyone's taking them. They're laying the points. I think Northwestern keeps it close, but it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I love that this total was holding put at this number that I already thought was pretty damn low, considering the matchup history between these two squads and the fact that Maryland's coming off a game against Indiana where they lost, 28-42 before the bye, but that game soared over along with the game before that as well against Villanova. They've cashed the over in 4 of their 5 last games. I got a feeling we get a nasty, stinky under, maybe some mistakes on the Maryland side of the ball to keep Northwestern in it and to see this under smack.
Yeah, I'm somewhat with you. I have a similar play that you mentioned. I like Northwestern, so
sure.
I would be lying if I said I'm taking them in the game because I think they're going to score 1 million points. But I am on the same wavelength with you. I think their defense isn't nearly as bad as they looked last week. But the one thing that sticks with me from that Indiana game is they were forced into like a passing situation. And if you would have told me Northwestern would be in a passing script, I would have said that's a disaster situation and they lose by a lot more than they did. But they actually look kind of decent. And I feel like against this Maryland secondary, that's exactly what you're going to want to do. So I think it might be a little close, but I do think their offense is a little better than people realize too. So I'm going to take them on the spread, but I don't really disagree with you're under either. I think we both get these.
All right. Let's hope we get an under Northwestern Maryland for once. They don't come around. They don't grow on trees. They don't come around often. See how it plays out. I do like this under. Speaking of Northwestern plus 11, already talked about it a little bit, but any other deets, any other reasonings why you like them to keep it within the number there?
Yeah, I mean, not too much else. I mean, I guess if you want to do something or if I want to add something that's not directly tied to this game, you remember how every single game went yesterday, Krabs? After we saw, and you were kind of on top of this, but we've been seeing a lot of the big dogs cover, and all of them got absolutely destroyed. Granted, I guess there are like 2 that would qualify as kind of big dogs. I guess you can put in 2 days ago from New Mexico State too. They've been getting railed this week. We've seen all favorites cover in these last 4 midweek games. So today, I think we get at least 1 big dog, and I think this might be the one.
Want to give some respect to JMU for their performance last night on both sides of the ball. I don't know what it is about that school. Maybe it's in the water. I don't know, but their football teams are always just good and they win games.
They win games. Fist in the queue.
Sure. We'll get Rav in here in a moment. JMU was a great play last night against Coastal. Fake sharp line movement there. It was always JMU laying 7.5 after that bad loss to Louisiana Monroe. Great play. Hockey. Take me to the ice and we'll swing around. What do you like about your your Lightning? You get to take your boys.
I do. And it's their first game of the season. To people in the chat, their game that was in Tampa got canceled, but they're still playing in Carolina. So that's what you're thinking of. This game didn't get canceled or rescheduled. But just like I was talking about, this is kind of where you lean into your reads for the team's first game in. This is the Bolts going on the road. Not many people are really incredibly high on the Bolts this season. I am. And they're going on the road with probably the only team that I've mentioned or heard mentioned from the East as cup contenders, or that people are taking to win the cup, because everybody likes the Devils, but I haven't heard much Stanley Cup talk about them. It's all Canes. I think the Bolts going on the road and steal one, especially being I know he was only there for 1 season, but you got a little Jake Gensel narrative here. And I think this Bolts team is a lot deeper than people give it credit for, because we saw what they were last week. I was all over fading them for that exact reason, but they made some ads. The Stamkos loss was tragic, but it was addition by subtraction. So maybe a little motivation angle, not as for Gensel, but playing off the Hurricane, of course, playing the Canes, can't make it up with the irony there. But these games are always just tight, physical, and that's kind of the game that we're going to get to start the season. And I think it's going to come with goals too. I feel like the Bulls come in early and punch them in the mouth and show that their offense is for real. That top line is going to be the best line in all of hockey this season.
Okay. Addition by subtraction. Who the heck wants to take them after losing their superstar? Kind of reminds me of the Mets, kind of reminds me of the Padres. Different sport, same angle, same reasoning there, kind of, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa opens up their season with a big win, big upset. When they lose their best player. Sure.
Yeah.
Plus chicken.
Yeah.
Plus 123. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I'm in. All right, let's go back to college football here. We'll swing it around, chat. Stick with us, and then we'll get to some college football plays for this weekend. And yeah, I'm going with all totals. If you guys haven't noticed already, I have a pretty good, I got a pretty good hunch about these 3 plays today in college football. I think they go 2-1 at worst. Let me talk about the over in UNLV and Utah State here, gents. UNLV up to -19, as they probably should. So Utah State is rat meat. Just like I talked about with Middle Tennessee State not having NIL money, and it's really hurting their squads, and they've taken a huge step back as a program. How about Utah State? This team has no coins. They got no aura. They're terrible. They're 1-4. They're playing really, really bad. They're getting smoked in these games. And they're coming off of 4 straight losses after a cupcake win to open up their season against Robert Morris, which really shouldn't count. So, like, they really don't have any wins against real schools this season. And they only covered 1 game, and it was against Utah, and that's a sketchy team this season as well. UNLV, you look at what they've been doing recently. They've been on fire until that loss to Syracuse in their last game. They've had some time to think about that one, losing 41-44 in a high-scoring affair. I think we see another high-scoring affair in this game as well. I think UNLV comes out hot after that loss. I even thought about taking their first half spread, but instead I went with the full game total because I think Utah State can creep back into this one late. Maybe we see Spencer Petras show up in the second half, keep them within the number, and maybe even cover on a nasty line. Who the heck wants to bet on Utah State? Probably 0 people, to be completely frank. But I love the angle back in UNLV's offense as well to show up after that bad loss. It wasn't the offense's fault, and I really like this Haj Malik Williams kid. If you guys haven't watched him play yet this season, he is legit, okay? And I think their offense shows up. Love seeing them up to almost -20 on the road here after a loss. It's not going to be UNLV's offense we got to worry about, and I think they show up early, and then Utah State shows up late, maybe even gets a backdoor Mima cover. That's why I'm going to stay away from UNLV if they take their foot off the gas. But I like Petrus's passing yards. We'll talk about that here in a moment. I think they'll get some garbage time yards, garbage time points, and push this game over the total. The total's almost moved up 10 points from that opening line of 58.5, and the splits look very sharp as well in this over. A lot of big bets being dropped on the over. Not a lot of small bets. If you look at the splits, pretty good sign. I think we see points.
Yeah, I could be in on that. You need something for UNLV to bounce back after that rat shit performance against Syracuse, where they got punched in the mouth early, dug themselves a hole, started to climb out of it, but not enough.
Yep. W. Leonard Wolf in chat. We got DJ Hale in chat. Petras, easily worst QB in Division I, not scoring shit. Gosh, they should probably just cancel the game.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? Why even play the game? They already know the outcome. There's no way they even score or put up any points. They should just keep the guys healthy, avoid any injuries, concussions, and just move on to next week, right? Why even play the game? Gosh, man, this is why Vegas looks like it does, because it chats like that. Unbelievable. I think we get Petras to show up in this game, mainly in the second half. They maybe even cover. But UNLV, after that loss, they probably won't take their foot off the gas in this game. They're going to want to smoke them and also help out their college football playoff chances potentially, right? They want to beat every team by as many points as possible.
Yeah, style points matter.
Yep, they do. They do in this economy. Let me just go over this last play as well, and then we'll swing over to your last one here, Jovan. The under in Utah and Arizona State. Anybody else seen an Arizona State ticket line around for tonight? Because I haven't. I literally have not seen one. Not one person back Arizona State. All I'm seeing is Cam Rising is back. And by the way, that's not even officially confirmed yet. I'd like to see him out there on the field because I'm hearing some mixed things as well today. But he'll probably be back out there. That's probably why we saw the spread move from -4.5 to -5.5 yesterday. But seeing a lot of Utah bets. Instead, I want to fade Cam Rising in that offense coming back when everybody's expecting them to shine and pick up where they left off. I don't know if it's going to be that easy. I'll be honest. And also Utah coming off a bye, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm double checking. Utah coming off a bye. Everybody thinking, yeah, they are. Everybody thinking after that terrible loss to Arizona on the road, they switched to QBs. Their offense shows up. We know what this Utah's team's identity is. It's defense. Cam Rising's great when he plays, when he's healthy, but how does this Utah team win? They win with defense. And we really haven't seen this team's defense look sharp yet this season. I think they lock in, put up their best performance of the season coming off the bye week. That's the side of the ball that really locks in with that extra prep time against Arizona State, who, by the way, has extremely overperformed so far this season. Extremely overperformed. They're coming off a nice win against Kansas. Kansas is terrible. All that luck they had over the last couple seasons, it's completely crumbling down and completely flipped. Kansas is not good at football. Arizona State, people think they are this season, though, Jovan. They're 4-1. I don't think their offense shows up after putting up 35 points in that high-scoring affair, crazy comeback, crazy game against Kansas. Not this week against that stout Utah defense coming off an extra week of prep. No chance. I want to fade Arizona State and the Sun Devils offense. I don't want to back Utah and Cam Rising because I think it's the fake sharp POD. Instead, I want to fade Cam Rising in that offense when everybody's expecting them to shine and cover. And I'll just fade both offenses here in this spot with this low total. The over's getting peppered with bets, and we're not seeing the total move at all today. And it didn't move at all with the Cam Rising news. Maybe they already knew, right? But you saw that spread move a little bit. Total didn't move at all with the Cam Rising news.
Yeah, that is weird because, I mean, obviously they didn't know because they moved the spread back and forth accordingly. So the fact the total didn't move probably tells you all you need to know. So I like that under. I'll join you with that because I think regardless of what Utah's offense does, Arizona State is getting stuffed in a locker offensively. So I could very easily see it being them doing the same to Utah in a stalemate game. But I'll join you on that.
Let's go. Love it. Chat, 3 totals for me today on the books. All right, let's move on to Javon's last straight bet. Then we'll get to the prize pick squares here. How about some runs in this baseball game tonight?
I just couldn't help myself, dude. Couldn't help myself.
I like to play. I do.
I haven't punched this one in yet because I'm still back and forth of how exactly I want to play it. Usually I punch them all in before they're on here, but this one I kind of wanted to talk through and figure it out. An 8 total. You don't see those in a win-or-go-home game. Usually when it's just one team in an elimination scenario, God forbid both, you don't see that very often. And I think the obvious part of it would be Yamamoto's pitching. He's had his fair share of blow-ups since he's come back. The Dodgers bullpen is weird, and they're in a crazy spot. It still doesn't make sense to me how we're seeing this number, which is the same number we've seen earlier in this series. So that was shocking to me. But when you see that, you also see the Dodgers at -140, which is pretty interesting. I think Darvish gets rocked, which is the weird thing about this matchup because you pointed out some of the weird squares he previously had and he still has now. He owns the Dodgers. So I really couldn't get to the price of the Dodgers on this one either, being -140, almost -150 now, which is interesting. So I hate the matchup. I think the Dodgers are going to score runs. I think you look at some of the squares up for their hitters, which we'll talk about, the main one specifically. I think the Dodgers score runs in this game. I think their bullpen is going to be in a weird spot, whether Yamamoto blows up or not, because his leash is going to be pretty short, and they're going to be forced to go to some arms that the Padres have seen a ton. They've had plenty of success against. So, like I said, you don't see these totals in elimination games, whether it's a game 5, whether it's a game 3 in the wild card, whether it's a game 7 in the championship series or the World Series, God forbid. And I feel like it's probably for a reason because you're getting runs in this game.
I agree. I agree with everything you just said. Now, we haven't seen an under in the series yet, so that could have something to do with it, but could not agree more. Still a little bit of a high total, especially with Yu Darvish's history against the Dodgers. And Yamamoto, I know he didn't have a great start in that last outing, but he settled in a little bit. And overall this season, he's been fine. So, yeah, I think the total's a little bit high. How I would play it, I'd probably take the first 5 over, to be honest with you, and just fade the pitchers, right, with the lights being very bright. And then I'd expect this game to kind of settle in and have less scoring late, especially with the Padres bullpen being involved. Like, yeah, maybe Yu Darvish gives up some runs with those weird squares up and the disrespect on prize picks with that fantasy score that's now up. It's brand new. That square was not up earlier. I know it's going to be lower. I know his leash is going to be shorter, but come on. Yu Darvish against the Dodgers. Give me a break. I think it's first 5 over personally, but I do like the over in the game. I do think it hits. I just would rather fade both starting pitchers here with that Yamamoto 1.5 run square -120 to the over on the books. I know looking at the chart, it doesn't look like I want to take the more than, but I mean, overall, Yamamoto has been solid for the Dodgers when he's been healthy this season, just not in that last outing. So maybe people are just thinking he gets mucked up. I don't know, but I don't want to take the less than. on that square. And then Darvish, I think, gets mucked up as well, too. I think it's first 5 over, get out. But
Be down for that pivot.
Yeah, that's just what I prefer, but I'd still lock in that over if it ends up winning the squad ride or something like that. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. Love the play. Love the angle. These elimination game unders also really have not been hitting, to be completely honest with you. So not all of them. Not as much as usual.
A couple.
I'm in. All right, let's move to some Prize Pick squares for today, chat. We'll get you guys right on the Prize Picks board. Maybe you can lock in a sharp report 4-man with these 4 squares and cash another 10xer today. And I'll get started after we just talked about why we like the over so much. How about a fade of one of the bats in the Dodgers? Probably the hottest bat on the Dodgers right now, Teoscar Hernandez. This reminds me a lot of the Jake Rogers square that was up yesterday on Prize Picks. Not the same player. I know Teoscar's better, home run derby beast, right? But it's the most popular square on Prize Picks today. It's not, a Shohei Ohtani or Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman GOAT, and the chart is extremely green, and we're seeing some favorable odds on the books towards the under here. I think Teoscar is the guy on the Dodgers who doesn't show up today, and looking at Prize Picks, him being the most popular square, people are just blindly backing him since he's been red hot. I think it could be a different GOAT, maybe a guy like Shohei showing up today, who you're going to talk about here in a moment, and Teoscar, for the first time this series, doesn't show up and doesn't cash his hits, runs, RBIs. The guy's literally cashed it every single game this series. And although Darvish might get mucked up today, Teoscar has really bad numbers against Darvish in his career. I got to go back and check the Carfax, but I believe I saw earlier he was 1 for 10 with a bunch of strikeouts in his career against him. So maybe Teoscar is the one Dodger who doesn't show up today. And then Spencer Petras, already mentioned that one a little bit earlier as well. I do think, at halftime, this one might not look like the greatest square, but I do like Spencer to come through in the second half, mainly here in some garbage time. And we've also seen him elevate this offense since he's been put in as a starter again. I don't really know what people in chat were talking about. The offense has looked better since they made the QB change, and he's coming off a pretty solid performance. And it's pretty clear this UNLV defense, not as elite as it's been in years past. I do think Spencer, even if they're getting blown out in this game and it gets out of hand against a superior UNLV squad, this square could hit either way. Whether the upset's pulled off and they're putting up hella points with that total moving up a ton, or if they're losing in an L game script with some garbage time yards late. I like the fact that square can hit in both of those scenarios, and I'm taking his more than passing yards. He's looked pretty sharp to me in the last couple games, especially his last one. I want to check that Teoscar stat while we go over your squares.
Okay. Well, I'll start with the GOAT. I'm taking Ohtani. It's his moment in this game. Like I talked about, I like runs. I like the Dodgers. Got to pick a guy that fits both the cards and not making it all that complicated, because you talk about the matchup against Darvish. He'll probably see him twice, maybe 3 times, but that's if he's dealing. So it's probably not the ideal game script anyway. But like Darvish has seen the guys that are going to be in front and behind him plenty of times, so a lot more than Ohtani has. So it's not like you can pitch around him like too much. If you're Darvish, he has a very varied, pitch range and pitch mix. So he's going to give different stuff to different guys. I just don't think it's going to work against Ohtani. His numbers against lefties too have been getting worse and worse since he's come back too. And really like before he actually got injured too. That was starting to take a dip off, and I think Ohtani is set up for the moment. I'm not going to act like it's the sharpest thing in the world, but I take a note of these 1.5 total basis squares that have been up for GOATs, and they turn green more than they don't in the playoffs. And Tatis has been a couple of times. Bobby Witt's been a couple of times in the Royals series, I believe, or in the Orioles series, sorry. And I think this is the time for Ohtani. So Japan teammates having a matchup that I think Ohtani wins today. And then Jack Lausch talked about it a little bit, and we were talking about Northwestern. The one thing that I was super excited about them showing last week against, when they had the W passing script against a really good defense, I think in Indiana, they showed they could pass the ball when they're spread out and playing defenses that'll let them get spread out. So now they're going to be facing a secondary that I think is a lot more vulnerable, a lot worse than Indiana's secondary in Maryland. So I think that passing script is going to be opened out a little more from the start. And like I said, from what I saw last week, I feel pretty confident that if that's in the game plan, that they can succeed in it and that he'll succeed in it. So give me Jack to have a solid game. Not like I'm asking for him to be Brady, but keep him in the game.
All right, and I did check the Carfax on Teoscar there. He is 1 for 10 in his career against Darvish. Maybe he has his number, right? And I do like those 2 squares as well. Shohei and Jack Lausch.
Wow,
whose passing
shit.
yards has gotten bumped up a couple times.
Yeah.
Love to see it, right? I think that's gotten bumped up. Oh my God, it got bumped up again, Jovan.
Again?
182.5. Yes.
Dude.
182.5, bro.
Just what are we doing bumping up Northwestern passing yards, dude?
I don't know, dude. I guess they see something. They must.
I guess.
Huh. All right. Well, W squares, chat. Don't be afraid to lock in a 4-man. All right, we got fat girls coming in with a 5U Subway. Are you kidding me?
We fat girls.
Are you kidding me? Let's go. And look, I don't mind playing the bumps, Jovan. I'm sure you don't either, right?
Yeah, it's passing yards.
Whoa.
Bless you.
Excuse me, guys. Jesus. All right.
Wow.
We got a hype
Aries
train
with
moving and grooving?
These two.
Dude, Aries coming in with a 5U whale. Let's go, Aries. Sure we can. Let's fucking go. All right, let's move. Let's groove. I want to get Rav in here. All right. Before we do, though, before we move, I want to take a trip to the ice briefly. You talked about taking your Lightning. Any other plays or angles that you like, or you want to move off the ice and stick to football today?
We can stick to football. I don't have really any
Right.
cold hard angles in football or in hockey other than in that game. The other games kind of suck. There's only like 3 other games. So nothing I was really considering out of like another over in the Blues game.
Yep.
Also soared last night, so I'm not dying on that hill.
Okay. W Aries, man, you're a fucking beast. Always blessing up the chat. Always giving out free subbies. Love to see it. All right, let's take a trip to Friday Night Lights then. And let's briefly talk about all 3 of these games. Let's get Rav involved. Can we clap it up for Rav? He's been on fire. Okay. He's been on fire. Rav, how we doing? The floor is yours. You're 3-0 in this cool challenge you're doing, taking a football play every day. Talk about it. Let the people know.
And muted.
What up, fellas? You hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back on. I'm doing this challenge. I really don't know where to go today with it. I think I'm leaning UNLV, either spread or the over like you have, Krabs. But I'm not entirely sure yet. I need to figure it out in post. But it's been a good series so far. I like doing it, and it's been I've been kind of getting a lot of traction with it. So I'm definitely going to keep going and hopefully keep winning.
100%. Hey, don't get too cute today. I know you've been on fire, 3-0. Don't get too cute.
I won't get
trust
too
your
cute.
gut.
It
But
could
also,
just be UNLV spread.
It might be. I do think they cover that spread. I'm not going to lie. Now, also don't get not cute enough as well, right? You don't want to get lackadaisical, complacent after 3 straight wins. You got to find that middle ground, right?
Yeah.
Let's take a peep at these 3 games for today. I already talked about my plays. Jovan did as well in these games. But Northwestern and Maryland, I like the under. Jovan's on the Northwestern spread. Rav, any thoughts on this game?
At first glance, I liked the over, or Maryland, but you kind of talked me off that a little bit. This was just a really shit Big Ten game that I'm not going to watch. So
yeah,
I'd rather watch the other 2 games for sure.
Sure. Looks like people on Pickett, they're taking Northwestern on the spread a little bit. They're also taking that under. Huh. And the money percentage isn't looking too good either. People are putting bigger bets on that over that are placing them. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that game's missed. Let's move and groove. Let's talk about UNLV and Utah State here briefly. We might have a little bit of an echo.
Slight echoes.
Sure, Gootsy's going to fix that right now. But let's take a peep at this other game here. You said you're thinking about laying it with UNLV. They're up to minus 19 for minus 17.5. I think that's a pretty good look. I do.
Yeah, and what you guys said about just wanting to show style points and stuff, I mean, I completely think that this is one of those games, especially after losing the way they did last week to Syracuse at home. Utah State has just been the bottom barrel of defense as well. I'm not really scared to take UNLV with 3 touchdowns here.
Yep. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I'd be surprised if UNLV takes their foot off the gas in this spot after a loss to Syracuse, even if their offense showed up. Like, I think they'll keep their foot on the gas the whole game, no matter what. But the reason why I like the over so much is because I do think Utah State could creep late. You better hope Petrus isn't absolutely fucking dialed in. He might hit his passing yards, but maybe he's not, prime Tom Brady in the second half. That's probably the only thing I worry about there with playing the number. But I definitely lean UNLV. I almost locked that in myself at minus 19.
Yeah, that does worry me a little bit, but I also think that it's just going to be so far out of the water that the spread is going to be safe.
Yep. Jovan, you got any other thoughts on that game?
No, not too many thoughts. I mean, they have what, 2 weeks. UNLV plays Utah State today, and then they play Oregon State on the road, which
Yep.
I'm not gonna act like it's the easiest place to play, but that team kind of sucks. So they have 2 weeks to get right and have really good performances before playing BY or Boise State, which is
Yep.
a massive game for them. So they got to get right these next 2 weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if they just beat the shit out of Utah State in this game. Kind of feels like you have to.
All right. And then one more late night game, Utah, Arizona State. I mean, Jovan, we've already talked about this one a little bit. I've already given out my under in this game. Would love to hear from the alum, Rav, talking about the Sun Devils here in this spot.
Yeah, you guys know that what I think about ASU. I kind of gave you my spiel a little bit. They have definitely been overproducing compared to what they were supposed to do.
Yep.
Utah's my Big 12 champion, so it's really hard to kind of like cheer against ASU here, but they need Cam Rising back and healthy and going like as as good as possible going into the end of the year.
Yep.
And this kind of feels like that type of game for Utah, unfortunately, where they get
Yeah.
right with their starting quarterback back and against a team that's been overproducing. So if this were any other team, I'd be on Utah, but since it's ASU, I just can't do it.
Yeah, that's true. And, I still have not seen an Arizona State ticket today. I still have not.
I haven't either.
You got that on your side as well, right? Chat, anybody seen an Arizona State ticket lying around? Although on Pickett Pro here, we're looking, and they do have more bets than I would expect on the spread.
That's actually pretty crazy.
Yeah. A little bit more of a public dog than, I initially expected after going through Twitter today, right? Looks like Arias has a ticket. Moreno TTV has a ticket as well. Sure. Rhino Fusion. Okay. Max Hacks Bet says if Cam plays, Utah wins by 2 possessions. I feel like that's just the easy angle here, though, in this game.
That's
everybody's
the thing.
taking, everybody's
That's
leaning
why you're
into.
not going to see many Arizona State tickets because nobody
Yeah.
fades Utah if Cam Rising plays. They only fade him when he doesn't.
Yeah. You're right. We got Buff Dip coming in subbing. Let's go, Buff Dip. Just followed as well 14 minutes ago and already subbed. Let's fucking go, Buff Dip. Love that. That's such heart. I could go for some Buff Dip this weekend, man, during some football. That would smack. All right. Let's move. Let's groove, gents. W talking about these college football games for tonight. Would love to dive in and talk a little bit about these college football weekend plays, huh? You guys down? Let's get involved. Gucci, run that damn preview. All right, chat. You guys know the vibes. Okay, we're going to go over our favorite plays for this weekend in college football and then go over NFL as well. But it's 5 plays that we love on the books and then 2 prize pick squares each. 1 over, under, favorite, underdog, and a meat on tape play. All right, so let's get started out with the snooze fest. We'll get the unders out of the way here first. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to take this nasty under in Texas and Oklahoma. Texas has been pretty impressive so far this season. They're ranked number 1 as they should be. They may do without their star QB Quinn Ewers for a couple games this season as well, although it helps when you have a Manning in your back pocket. But this Texas offense, they've been doing job, man. They've been doing job. And up until last week or their last game, they are coming off a bye, I believe, in this game. But after their last game, before that, they did rip off 3 straight overs. And it wasn't because their defense was giving up points. It was because they were scoring hella points. They scored 51 against ULM. They scored 56 against UTSA. And then 31 points against Michigan as well when that game went over, snuck over. My point is they were scoring points. Their defense was playing great, but they were also playing against some really bad defenses as well, especially against Louisiana Monroe and UTSA. So I do think Texas's defense is really fucking sharp. They've looked great in every game so far this season. I think they show up once again against a trendy Oklahoma squad here on the spreads, and their defense outperforms Oklahoma's offense. They stunt them. They absolutely silence them. Oklahoma doesn't score much in this game. Then we look at Oklahoma. They're coming off a big-time win at Auburn as dogs. A little upset. Sure, they have a bye week in between there, so they got extra prep as well, but that game's sort of over. All right, they carried the total over in that game with 27 points. Now is when we fade this Oklahoma offense at home. Okay, this total has dropped so many points since the opener, which was close to 60, but this week it's dropped multiple points as well. It's down to 48.5 some places as well. It's already dropped a full point since this morning when I put it on the Sharp Report, and it's probably going to keep dropping. This is going to be a game that everybody's excited for, right? This is a huge rivalry. But I want to fade it and back a snooze fest. And one of the best games of the day that people are excited for typically works out in a primetime game on national TV. This one's on ABC. Let's fade both the offenses when people are expecting a shootout and people think these teams are better than they are. I think Texas's defense has been really impressive, and people haven't talked about that enough.
Yeah, they've been good. Haven't really had the chance to look bad, but I don't know that they really have it here either. So I'm with you, Krabs.
Yep. Nasty under.
I could not agree more, Krabs. This was on my card until I kind of had a little late night revelation last night that maybe Texas blows them out so badly that they cover themselves.
Okay. That's probably the only way I could see this game going over. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
we're going to get to, I guess, the favorites later. But I love Texas. And it could be so square, but we'll see.
It could be so square that it's sharp.
Maybe.
Could be. People are talking. Jovan, Vandy, Kentucky under.
Vandy, Kentucky under. I had to get involved in this way, and I'm a big don't fade Vandy guy, so I didn't want to do it straight up on the spread because I feel like something's still off with this game, and I hate the 2 touchdown lines because I think I talked about that on here maybe yesterday, but those are the ones that have been winning outright, making some noise really the entire season. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's still a close game and Vandy covers this game, but I don't think it's going to come with points, especially like we know how good Kentucky's defense is. The one thing that's like really weird about Vandy is that little hybrid triple option offense with Pavia. Like nobody really knows how to stop it. Not only is Kentucky's run defense, I mean, one of the better units in all of the country, but their defensive coordinator, you know where he used to coach for a couple of years, Krabs?
Where?
Air Force.
Wow.
So he's a guy who's seen running quarterbacks in this option play style quite a bit. So like he is going to have that unit. He also has like he played as an outside linebackers in his playing days, and it's also what he coaches at Kentucky. So if there is anybody primed to stop Pavia and what he's going to do with his legs, it is him and that defense. So I feel like regardless of what happens in the game, he's going to have a really good plan to stop them. And if Vandy makes this game close or covers, it's just going to be because their defense holds up against that really dog shit Kentucky offense with that really shouldn't scare you at all. So I feel like this is a gross classic Kentucky SEC game where you don't get points regardless of what happens.
Could not agree more. Could not agree more. Love this under. I thought about even maybe playing Kentucky as well, but I'm really not in a rush to back them. I just really want to fade Vanderbilt after that legacy performance. You got Diago Pavia going on every talk show left and right, acting like he's him. I mean, as he should. He is him. We know that. But this is the exact perfect letdown spot to fade Vanderbilt in that offense. It's looked so good this season. They put up 40 points against Bama in that last game. Have they been locked in this week? Probably not. I wouldn't be. I'd be fucking celebrating, acting like I'm, on the Kansas City Chiefs right now. That's what I'd be doing. And I didn't want to get too cute and back Kentucky on the spread here, considering Kentucky's coming off that big-time upset against Ole Miss as well. So although there was a bye sandwiched in between there, I don't want to back them on the spread. I'd much rather tail you on this under. Love the play.
Sure.
Love the play. Rav, little Mizzou fade here, taking the under against them in UMass.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I couldn't find a lot of great unders I wanted to take this week, which probably means that most of the games are going to go under. But I am taking a Missouri team who has now traveled 2 straight weeks. They had to go to Texas A&M and get their ass slapped by Texas A&M. And now they have to go all the way to the East Coast, which they never have to do, to play UMass, a horrible team. And with their, season hopes dashed. I mean, what everyone said was going to happen to them happened. And they saw all the chatter on Twitter. They saw everyone saying that they were frauds, and they got exposed. And so I just don't think the team morale is high there. I don't think that, even though UMass is horrible, I don't see them getting to this total at all. And it's going to be purely Missouri probably controlling this game. Maybe they let up like a touchdown or two, but I just don't see Missouri offense getting to this total, and the UMass offense definitely won't either.
I like this play because I think Mizzou's defense shows up for the first time in a while since that Buffalo game, like almost over a month ago. Jeez. But since then, their defense really hasn't done anything. But they're playing a really bad UMass squad that I'm not scared of one bit. This is one of the worst teams in college football. I think Mizzou, their defense shows up for the first time in a while, and that could be huge for this under. you better just hope they don't keep their foot on the gas after that embarrassing loss to Texas A&M where they only scored 10 points and they don't try to impress some people on offense. That's the only thing I could see pushing this game over.
Yeah, I don't think maybe they start off slow and then get close towards the end, but I do think this goes under.
Okay. All right. 3 snooze fest for you, chat. 3 unders we like. All right. Don't let these ones get swept. Let's move and groove on to some overs. Let's talk about some Mikey overs. I'm taking Clemson's team total over. Not happy about it, but Clemson, talk about a team that's going to be keeping their foot on the gas in every fucking game and trying to win by as many points as possible. That's going to be Dabo Swinney and Clemson as they try to establish themselves as still one of the most dominant programs in college football. And they're playing like it right now. Though they didn't cover against Florida State in their last game, they did cover the 3 games before that. They've taken care of business after that embarrassing loss to Georgia, ripping off 4 straight wins in a row. But this play is mainly fading Wake Forest's defense that really is that bad, guys. I mean, they just gave up 30 points to NC State, and sure, they won that game. It's also why I love taking this bet as well, because we're fading that Wake Forest defense that could get caught sleeping here. That's not good in the first place. Didn't play well last game, but they won the game. Could get caught lacking here to a Clemson squad. I mean, look, Wake Forest knows they're about to get fucking obliterated here. What do they have to look forward to? But they have a little bit of confidence here after that big win on the road against NC State, who we know is a fraud at this point. And I'll tell you what, Clemson's team total just being this high in general on the road against a Wake Forest team that not only they typically don't play well against, but you look back at their history of games. I mean, the last time these guys played, the game absolutely soared under. And there was only about 29 points combined. Now, Clemson, typically wins this game with ease and covers. And I don't think it'll be any different this year against a really bad Wake Forest squad coming off that big win. Now we fade them in that defense that is that bad. And we back Dabo Swinney and this Clemson team that's still trying to prove people wrong this season. The fact that this team totals at 40.5, this fucking high is actually crazy, considering this team's only scored more points than that against a moose shit opponent a couple weeks ago. Besides that, their offense hasn't, even eclipsed a number near this. I think they do on the road against this overrated Wake Forest team.
Beyond that, I'm always in for Clemson, Krabs.
Yep. I think they win big. That's a huge team total against an ACC squad. Huge.
Really fat.
Yep. What do you like about Rice? Good to see you're going back to an old friend here.
Yeah, old friend that died very quickly. I mean, they're fucking terrible. That's a team that I know season's not over, but I will hand up, swing and miss on that team. But this week, I think they're in a great spot. First of all, the line really didn't make sense to me because they've seen low totals all year, right? And a lot of these games, obviously against better defensive teams or better teams in general, like Houston and Army and all those teams, their totals have been hanging between 40 and 44 at the most. The look ahead for this one before this week, they were minus or plus 3.5, and the total was at 43.5. It reopened and they were 6-point dogs, and the total's at 47.5. Now they're only 4-point dogs, and the total's up to 51.5, which I think is absolutely nuts. So just off the line alone, I mean, it screams that they're finally going to score points. They've been a turnover machine all year once they do start getting drives together. I think that stops against a UTSA defense that is not going to force many turnovers. So I think this is easily their best FBS defensive performance of the year, or against an FBS defense, their best performance of the year in a game where we got two sons of NFL quarterbacks going at it, which is fun. You got the McCown son and EJ Warner, which is fun.
Sure. That is crazy.
Yeah, it's a hilarious matchup, but there's going to be points in this one. That total going up as high as it did is absolutely insane to me, but thankfully they get a great matchup against a rat shit UTSA defense, so they're going to wake up this week.
Looks like somebody in chat, our guy Jake, is asking if our over 6.5 FCS wins bet is cooked. Currently it's 6. I don't know if any of the FCS matchups have life. Yeah, Jake, we're probably going to get hooked.
I feel like we looked at they had a week or so, soon, where there was a couple. Maybe one could have happened or can't happen.
Let me see if I can pull it up while Rav goes over this next play.
Yeah,
Rav, why do you like points in Kansas State, Colorado?
For that crucial nugget, Rice is wearing the Houston Oilers jerseys this week. So the
wow, those are fresh.
Mikey Over's uniform bet also.
All right, I'm sure you can get him on that.
Yeah.
Team total over. Sure. All right.
Yeah, so I like Kansas State to go into Colorado and make this a game. First, we know about Colorado's offense. Even with their really bad offensive line, Shedeur has been almost underratedly very good passing the rock. Kansas State's defense, both defenses really are not top half in the country. Kansas State especially can run the ball, and Avery Johnson has been able to show that he can throw, which is necessary for an over against a defense who isn't too great against the pass in Colorado. So this is a very kind of chalky over, but I like the late night points here in Boulder.
All right. Some late night points in Boulder. I hope they come from Kansas State. Fuck Colorado. Can't stand that team.
The lines are moving. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah.
Lines are moving and grooving. Look, I'm never going to bitch about taking it over in a Colorado game. They don't play like a defense. They don't care about defense. They're not there for defense. They're there for clicks, and they're there for Shador. So anytime you're taking it over in that game, I have zero qualms with it. They typically do go over anyway. So, but yeah, people bet them as well. Like people just blindly bet overs in Colorado because of what's been going on, and they've been cashing. So that's probably why it's moving up. I'm sure they're getting some bets. Who the hell's taking that under? Right. I'm looking at FCS versus FBS matchups for the rest of the season. We do have one interesting matchup coming up here soon in 2 weeks and 1 day. So 2 weeks from tomorrow, we've got Wagner against UMass. Maybe we see Wagner pull off that upset.
The main top 10 list. Yeah, I mean,
I hope so.
Certainly could happen.
But besides that one, man, like all the other ones for the rest of the year, and there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 after that game.
Can we bring Bobby Hurley back to Wagner for that matchup?
They're all big schools versus bad schools. Like Wagner, UMass is really our best chance. And then we got Maine at Oklahoma. That's cake. Murray State at Kentucky. That's cake. Mercer at Bama. That's cake. Citadel at Clemson. That's cake. Charleston Southern at Florida State. That's cake. Like I talked about in that video.
I don't know that one's cake, Krabs.
Charleston Southern at Florida State, dude.
I don't know that one's cake.
All right. Well, on paper, it looks like cake. And Wofford and South Carolina is one that we did talk about in that video, though, Jovan, that I thought might get a little bit weirder than people expect. Those guys play every year. Maybe that could be like a little VT losing to JMU or VT losing to ODU type thing there. South Carolina stinks.
Yeah, I definitely would say I'd take Charleston Southern before that one, but I wouldn't be shocked if that one's kind of close.
Okay. But yeah, we're going to need Wagner to upset UMass. Really. That's what we need. All right. W analysis there. W chat, keeping us involved with that play. And great question. We got Achilles in chat asking, I know this isn't the segment. I'm obligated to ask, though. Tatis is boosted from 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs to half a hit, run, RBIs. I mean, yeah, Achilles, that's not great. That's not great for the Padres. I'll tell you that much, because if he doesn't do anything, they're going to have a tough time winning this game. That is not a good sign. All right. Let's move on to the next plays here, gents. W overs. How about some blowouts? How about some favorites we like this weekend? I'm going to go with Iowa here on the MO. Interesting spots, right? You got Washington coming off that big-time win outright in their last contest. But, again, like I don't like this Washington team. I like their win total under. I think this is one of those losses on there. And after that big-time win against Michigan that I really didn't think they deserved, but they did pull off, I want to fade the heck out of Washington and that squads, and I want to back Iowa coming off that embarrassing performance on the road against Ohio State where they only put up 7 points, right? Who the heck wants to back Iowa after seeing them absolutely drop a dud against Ohio State in that game where they had a chance to do something cool this year? I want to back them, and I think they might put up some points as well against this Washington defense that I really have not been very impressed by so much this season. I want to back Iowa here at home. Love the spot. Love that they're favorites. Love the splits. And let's fade Washington after that big-time win. It's got to be the Hawkeyes here at home.
Yeah, I agree. Talk about that in a bit. Pretty sure Rav does too.
Yeah, I have Iowa.
There you go.
Good.
No, he definitely disagrees with me on this one. I think a lot of people do. Talk about a team that I've been surprised to see a lack of tickets on throughout the week, and the line kind of stay put where it is. Ole Miss, and I am the first one to say hand up from the beginning of the season. Like, I didn't like Ole Miss. I felt kind of validated when I saw that loss. But they responded well. And especially the part that I do want to give them credit for is I think defensively they're a lot better than people give them credit for. So, like, I kind of think this game ends up being an under game where you don't see nearly as many points as we did like in the last couple times these teams have faced. But that's the part that I do want to lean in with, because the problem with LSU, I think, is beyond Brian Kelly. It's beyond Nussmeier not being a Heisman quarterback like they've had in past years, obviously. It's the play calling, which I can't really get to. They don't unleash him the way they should. They don't attack things that are working. And like if you're facing an Ole Miss defense that has very, I don't know, strict tendencies where you want to attack them and find a spot of the weakness in their defense and kind of go after it time and time again, I just don't trust that the play calling is going to get them there. So I really think Ole Miss, just like we were talking about all this week, it's the best slate of all time. We just saw a million upsets last week. Seems like everybody's searching for a couple of them, especially these plus 3.5 home dogs. The one that I'll probably get to the counter with betting against is Ole Miss.
Wow. Well, I respectfully disagree. I'll probably be on LSU in the spot. Pray for me, back in Brian Kelly with my actual real hard-earned coins. That's brutal. Nobody should ever have to do that or experience that alone. So if everybody else is joining me on LSU, let's stay in this together. And if we need to talk about it, we can, because that's a moose shit bet. But I'm probably going to be on the Tigers.
Yep, Krabs, I will also be on the Tigers.
Go Tigers. Has to be done.
Brian Kelly.
I'm already fucking pissed about it. I already know it's a loser, but I'm taking the Tigers. Plus 3.5. Yep. And that spreads down to 3 most places as well. So we'll see where it keeps moving and grooving. Okay, we got a little Battle of Berg here. Jovan, I wish you the best of luck.
You did win the last college football Battle of Berg.
Yeah, I'll keep winning the football ones. You can have the baseball ones.
Yeah.
All right. Texas. Rav, you mentioned it earlier. I think you're on the right side here. I think Trent, I still have that fucking quote from earlier this week when he was asking if that line's too fat. I've had nightmares about it all fucking week. I can't sleep. I just keep hearing his stupid voice saying it. I think he might be right. As much as I hate to give him credit there, he might be right. He might be onto something, and you might be right here too with the spread. What do you like about Texas?
This is just more of like I firmly believe everyone likes to think that the whole college football landscape is just kind of evened out because of NIL. And I do think that most of it is. But I also do think that the top 2 teams are better than everyone else. And those 2 teams, to me, are Texas and Ohio State. When relating Texas to Oklahoma for this game, Texas is at I mean, they came into the SEC together. They were supposed to be be 1-1. And Texas is so far ahead of Oklahoma compared to comparing both. Not even just like with an offense or with the defense, recruiting, program stability. I mean, going into the game, the Oklahoma offense has just been horrible this year. They have to lean into a freshman quarterback, which the last time a big game like this, they were starting a freshman quarterback. Of course, it was Caleb Williams, but do we really expect that to happen back-to-back times? No. The Texas defense is underrated. I feel like compared to when they went to the CFP last year, the team as a whole is just way better. The defense is way better. You don't have those questions on defense, especially in the secondary, that you had last year, this year. And I just don't think the Oklahoma is going to be able to keep up. I mean, this is just going to be I think it's going to be a bloodbath, honestly, and a blowout. So I'm going to take Texas and bite my tongue that it's not a close game or a classic Red River rivalry game. It's going to be a complete domination.
Primer said you were dumb. Thoughts?
I expect that from Primer. If they cover, dude, please, Primer, send me a video. But he sent me a video for when the Cowboys beat the Steelers last week, and I did not open it. So I had to get him back.
Okay. All right. Oklahoma has beaten Texas 4 of the last 5 times they played. They do have their number. Maybe that number is a little bit big. A lot of respect for Texas. I mean, look, they're ranked number 1. They're absolutely fucking good. They're a wagon. They're a dynasty at this point. I mean, they're great. They're loaded. I think that defense shows up. I love that under. I think you're on the right side there with the spread, though, as well.
Yeah, I hope so. I think they flex their muscle a lot.
All right. Dubs, let's move on to the next plays here. I think we got some dogs barking. Sure. Yeah, I'm doing it again, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to bet Arizona again. I'm not happy about it, but I'm trusting my guns. I'm trusting Fafita, and I'm trusting McMillan, and that's all about they got really on offense this season. It's pretty much a 2-man show, and I think they do enough to shock the world and maybe hand BYU their first loss of the season, or at least keep this game within the number here. Plus 3.5 could be a key number. Grab that hook if you can. Arizona and Fafita. Nobody's betting on them. They probably shouldn't be, to be completely frank. I mean, this team is fucking dog shit. They have not come through for bettors at all this season. They're coming off an atrocious loss as favorites. That's exactly why I'm taking them against undefeated against the spread and undefeated BYU, who's at home. And we all know their home field advantage is one of the best in college football. Yeah, I fucking bet this will be the game that Arizona actually shows up in for once and covers for the second time this season. All right, Arizona and Fafita. Look, they have an avenue here passing wise against this BYU secondary. BYU D-line is solid. They got some pretty big Samoan dudes on that squad who might be in the league, honestly, playing on Sundays here soon. But their secondary, I think it's a little bit susceptible here, and Fafita and McMillan should absolutely cook. Give me Arizona to keep this one in the number. Rav, I know you probably don't love this play. You hate Arizona, but do you at least like the angle?
I do, and if it wasn't Arizona,
Yeah.
I'd probably take it with you.
Yeah, it's nasty. I think people have officially given up on Arizona now. And looking at the splits, they've got no action, and that number is holding pat. It's even moving down to 3 some places. Give me Arizona. I'll give them one more chance.
Yeah, I think BYU's a little. I know you said you like them, Jovan. I feel like they're just getting steamed a little too much, so I do like that angle.
They got a great program. They got a great coach. They got great players this year. I think BYU really could do something and maybe even make the college football playoffs.
That'd be nuts.
But I wouldn't be surprised if this is their one loss this season. I wouldn't be shocked. They're due for one. Hottest team in football. Best team in football right now. Most overperforming team in football. I'm going to have to fade them. Legally obligated to. Legally obligated. All right, let's hear about Florida.
Yeah, we talked about this one a little bit yesterday. Again, going back to the same thing, like we have the greatest slate of all time. We saw a million upsets last week, and I feel like I want to go to some of the more, I don't know, the less obvious ones that are going to be close games late, make you turn the channel on and say, holy shit, this is a good game that's close in the fourth quarter. I feel like Florida's in that spot because Tennessee, I guess like on paper, it's the classic bounce back spot. That's a thing. I was talking about it with DeGen in his chat. We mentioned it up here. It's the same thing I heard. Bounce back spot after Tennessee lost to Arkansas, sure. But I don't think this is a normal bounce back spot because the pressure's on to get everything together. This is the 1 week you have to look perfect before you go and play Alabama if you're Tennessee. So, like, I think this is a weird sandwich spot game, which, yes, they're back at home. Yes, they're playing Florida, a Florida team that I will say, as much as I would love to hate on them because I despise that school, I despise that fan base, they lost to Miami and they lost to Texas A&M. I guess Miami pretty handily. The Texas A&M game ended up being a little close. Other than that, you can't really say, like, I think this team is a little better than people thought. You know, they thought they're a bottom feeder of the SEC after watching those couple games. They've been all right. I think they rebounded to be a somewhat decent team that maybe they push closer to bowl eligibility than people thought. End up with like 5 wins, maybe 6 if they pull another upset. But I think this game is going to be close. You can talk about what the difference is between these teams, but for whatever reason, like as bad as Billy Napier's been, he has coached really well against Tennessee and Josh Heupel for all the time that he's been there. So he's one random coach and one random system that he just has his number. And I also think I've been waiting for the Nico breakout game. Rav's been fucking slurping Nico all year. I just don't think he's that guy. And you can say the Florida defense isn't one to push him, but I think the total would also be higher if he was going to have a much better game. I think Florida keeps one close, at least within 2 touchdowns, but I wouldn't be surprised if Florida has this game every single season where they go on the road and they test a team, take them to the wire where nobody expects them to, and then they lose in heartbreaking fashion. Last year, it was Mizzou in the game they 100% should have won. That was one of the luckiest games of all time by Mizzou. I think a year before that, it also happened to be Tennessee, but they always have one of these games. I think this is it. So right before you play Alabama, pressure's on to be perfect. The Gators.
Could be a letdown spot for Tennessee, but they are coming off an outright loss. It's 14-point favorites. I don't think Tennessee loses this game, but I would not be surprised if they don't cover. And I think Florida's a little bit better than people are giving them credit for. They've had a tough schedule. They played some good teams, which I do like, betting on squads that have good strength of schedules. And if you look at the splits, they look great for Florida, especially on the ML. I thought this was kind of weird. Although I just said Tennessee's not losing this game on the ML, I still don't think they do. I thought it was some serious respect for Florida. Maybe some people putting some big bets on the ML. Only 8% of bets right now in the green book, but 38% of the handle on the plus 440 ML for Florida.
Nukes on Florida ML.
So the handful of people who are betting Florida on the ML are putting a pretty good chunk on it as of right now. And it's still early, but early money typically is smarter. That's probably a good sign for Florida, if I would say so. But I don't think Tennessee loses this game. I'll be completely honest. Maybe Florida covers up.
I honestly think there's a shot.
Well, looking at those splits, they might have a shot.
I'll say, because I was looking, Howitzer was saying down to 14. You know what this line movement reminds me of? And obviously I don't think the game's going to play out exactly the same, but UCF against Colorado. This line is opening and moving the same exact way.
God, I fucking hope not.
Yeah, I'm seeing 14.5s across the board right now. W's, WCLV.
Which is crazy.
Okay. Maybe it's the Gators keeping them within 2 touchdowns. All right. Miami torched these idiots in the swamp. You don't think Tennessee ain't doing the same at home?
And
Yeah, you're right.
If you
Why even
wanted
play?
an extra nugget to my sell job, that's probably it.
Yep. Why even play the game?
Why play
You're
the
right.
game?
Let's avoid injuries. Let's avoid the concussions. And let's just move on to next week. Why even
Don't
play?
mention Florida's also getting their best player back this week, too.
Yeah,
Any spread over 14. Don't even play the game. You can't risk injury. That's where we're moving towards now.
Yeah.
Guys, this is why we love sports, college football so much. Because week in, week out, you see fucking random ass teams like Florida when nobody expects them winning outrights. That's why we love this shit. If every favorite took care of business and won outrights and covered, why we wouldn't even be doing this. There wouldn't even be betting. Use your brains. Turn them on. Come on.
Forget too. I mean, if you're a Tennessee fan, you fucking despise Florida because they always play them tough, no matter if they're shit, no matter if it's the Florida of old. It's always a bitch to play Florida. And like last year, they were also bad. And look what happened in the swamp. Obviously, you're going to Tennessee this time, so it's a little different, but it's a grinded out game. Always.
Yep. All right. Rav, LSU, bring this full circle. I like this play.
Yes, we will be in Battle of Jovan, but I think that it's just LSU's due for one of these big wins this year. They're not like one of those SEC teams where, like in Missouri, for example, where everyone just counts them out and you don't expect anything from them. Even though they're supposed to be good, I do think LSU has like a good big win in them, maybe even 2 down the road. But Ole Miss, this is kind of like more of an Ole Miss fade in this spot. They've played 7 straight games. They've got 2. This is their second straight road game in a rough environment. Trey Harris is questionable. He might not even play, which is huge. That's literally their biggest receiver. And I think that even though the LSU defense is horrible, there's been a little bit too much hate, in my opinion, on Nussmeier. He's, I think, 5th in the country in touchdowns thrown. Has been pretty good. The play calling could definitely be better, but I do think that this is a spot for LSU to kind of ruin a season here, because if giving Ole Miss their second loss, you are basically almost out of the CFP unless there's, some impressive wins down the road. And that Ole Miss definitely has a schedule to where that can happen. I don't know if I like the over, but I do like LSU upsetting.
Okay. I like LSU as well.
Kelly off a bye as well.
Pray it's not the fake sharp POD, right? We've heard a lot of Brian Kelly off a bye, his undefeated type narratives. Yep.
You know what I'll say too, and hand up. I think we talked about this narrative too for the midweek game. That New Mexico State or Jacksonville State is playing like second game in 5 days, and New Mexico State was coming off a bye. I've heard that Ole Miss 7 games in a row nugget with no bye week, and Brian Kelly off a bye week quite a few times. Rav, it's giving me similar vibes.
About Trey Harris?
I mean, if the books were worried about Trey Harris, I feel like LSU would be 2.5 too.
You're right,
but we'll see. It's going to be a good game.
Yep. I think the line is right where it is, personally. I mean, I don't love taking +3.5s or +3s. I've talked about that a ton. You guys know that by now, but I mean, it's pretty clear. I know LSU still has that ranking respect, I guess, but I feel like the odds makers are pretty hip to LSU being frauds at this point. But maybe they show up and play good for the first time this season, really. Gosh, they are coming off a 42-10 win against South Alabama before that bye, where they probably looked the best they have all season, but again, it's against South Alabama. So take that for a grain of salt. I'll probably be on the Tigers with you, Rav, but could be the fake sharp POD.
I feel like
+3, +3.5. So they're weird.
I feel like this is a game getting swept on this beautiful slate. I think this is going to be the best game of the weekend.
LSU?
Yeah.
Ole Miss? Yeah, I mean, top 15 matchup, high-ass total. Sure, it's coming down, but it should be a damn good matchup. Close total or close spread? Sure.
I think this is also like the last big game. I think this is the latest one. I'm pretty sure.
Actually, yeah, 7:30 prime time.
Maybe Ohio State and USC is
Ohio State. I think it's the same time, but yes. We also have Boise State, Hawaii. So I mean, bigger game, of course.
Ooh, yes, of course. All right, let's keep moving and grooving here, gents. W plays, W upset alerts. All right, let's move. Let's groove. Let's get to our meat on Ted plays. I think we might have some Martians here for Rav. He's going to fix them. I can get us started out here. How about Colorado State? How about a team that I talked about and gassed up a little bit in the beginning of the season and really haven't talked about much since? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because they've stunk it up. They're 2-3. Thought they'd be a little bit better than they are right now. I thought they'd perform a little bit better against, Colorado and some of these other matchups, but I digress. Now we're here. They're 2-3. They're coming off a loss to Oregon State, where sure they covered by a point or two, and they have covered their last 2 games. They did cover against UTEP as well, and they won by 10, barely won by the hook there. So they have covered their last couple. They are playing okay, but still nothing to write home about in 2-3. But this is mainly a fade on Coach Ken's San Jose State Spartans, unfortunately. Hate to say it, but San Jose State, one of the biggest overperformers so far this season. And I love seeing Coach Ken, find success, the former Navy coach, great guy. And he really has, jumped into that role and taken his team to levels that nobody expected them to be at this point. 4-1, the Spartans, they were projected to be the worst team in their conference. That's what everybody's been talking about every fucking week on the broadcast for these San Jose State games. They were supposed to be moose, complete rebuilds. But Coach Ken's built that offense around Nash, who's a stud, right? They have a pretty solid QB as well. But their strengths, I think, get completely canceled out by Colorado State's weak strength as well on defense. Colorado State's secondary is solid. They've always got a couple good corners. They're always producing a couple guys to the league every once in a while. This secondary is pretty solid. And I think they can at least limit Nash's success, which is really the only way the San Jose State team moves the rock. I love Colorado State also moving from a dog to a favorite in this spot. They were +1. I already thought that was short, and some serious respect for the Rams. I know they're home, but come on, only +1 to a 4-1 San Jose State team that's looked really sharp and pulled some really good games and really good offensive performances up on the board this year. That's fucking weird. And now Colorado State is flipped to a -1 favorite. Love to see that. The splits look great. We know this Colorado State team is better than they performed this season. Remember those clips of those guys talking about fuck the NIL, I'm staying here, I'm building something? I think this team for the first time this season respects bettors. They show up and they get a big-time win at home. Love the line flip, love the line anyways, and love Colorado State's. They've been underperforming. San Jose State, biggest overperformers in college football this season. We'll take the Rams at home as favorites.
Yeah, hopefully they back up their talk this time instead of just talking nonsense for nothing.
They've been talking a lot of nonsense. They really have not backed it up at all, ever. I think they get a big-time win when nobody wants to take them against the red-hot Spartans.
Sure.
Dubs.
I'm going to go with the Hawkeyes on the ML, which is like -135, -140. If it's a trap, I'll walk into it because the way that's been going with, and I know they're not going to fucking Miami or anything like far on the East Coast, but we talk about a couple weeks now for Washington where they've gone back and forth with travel. Like they started, I guess you could go back to like being at home against Northwestern and say they've played a lot of physical teams in a row. They're at home against Northwestern. They went all the way to the East Coast to play Rutgers, and they came back and got a massive emotional win against another physical team in Michigan. Now they're going to have to go, not all the way across the country, but make the trip to Iowa in a 9 a.m. body clock game. That's going to be torture for them. And it's already like the pass defense is good for Washington. That's where they've found a lot of their success this year, which part of it's because they haven't really faced any like true offenses like that other than Washington State. But the run defense is still not good. Like they got gashed by Monaghan. They got gashed by Donovan Edwards. They get gashed by every good running back they face. What do you think Caleb Johnson and that Iowa offensive line is going to do to them? He's going to absolutely put them in hell again, especially being that it's a early game for both teams. I think this is a run the ball down your throat game for Iowa where they win coming off a game against Ohio State where they kind of got punched in the mouth. A lot of people took Iowa. It's very comfortable to get, the 20-19.5 points with a team that you thought was going to hang in there defensively. They didn't. And now I think they play smash mouth football all this game against Washington and take them down.
Love the play. One of my favorite of the week. Very happy to see it on the meat on tape. It's the Hawkeyes at home. Has to be. Raph, Ohio State, and maybe the best game of the weekend. Let's hear it. And he's muted.
This is why Rav's on Fraud Watch, dude. It's unbelievable.
We pulled him off after his performance.
Tens?
I thought he's getting called off the bench.
Tens.
There we go.
Nice.
Your sell job.
All right. Yeah, this is a real meat on tape. So going into the year, Ohio State was my national champion. I don't think that basically I think that Oregon's gonna be put in a box here. I think that this is gonna be the biggest, best, most talented, and most athletic front seven that they've faced all year by far. Their running back is not going to be able to get going on the ground, which is going to force Gabriel to throw. We've seen that Gabriel has not been too sharp this year, even against Michigan State, throwing 2 red zone picks on really just bad throws. The windows get tighter against better competition. The throws need to be sharper, and I'm not bought in that Gabriel can do this even at home against Ohio State. The one part of the game that I'm kind of concerned for Ohio State is their offensive line against Oregon's D-line, especially in the run game. But I am going to lean on my belief that they have the better coordinators and the better coaches overall. Chip Kelly has been one of the best offensive coordinators, especially with running backs in college the last 5 years. I mean, you saw what he did with Charbonnet at UCLA. It was Charbonnet and one other good running back. I forget the other guy. But I think that Ohio State's going to be able to control this game and squeak out a win. So I'm going to go with Ohio State on the money line. And, yeah, I mean, I'm just standing on business here with my national champion.
See, this is like the rare time I see Rav standing on fucking business. So this is when I can respect it.
Yeah, I do. This is, like I said, with Texas, too. These are the 2 best teams in the country, and I think they flex their muscle this weekend.
Well, bless your heart, Rav. I think you said all the right things. It all makes sense, and you were not wrong about anything except for the play that's up there in the bottom right sector. I think it's the Ducks. One of the Ducks look good this season.
No,
Have they? In a single game? Has Dylan Gabriel look sharp? No, he looks like shit. He's throwing picks left and right. He's getting pissed off, walking off the field. You can tell he's stressing. Kind of reminds me of the Jags. And they're somehow still 5-0. Well, their schedule's been a lot easier, I'm sure, than Ohio State's. But you got Ohio State coming into town, and you look at that look-ahead line before the season. Oregon was a favorite in this spot before the season. I think that's important. And obviously, with how these 2 teams have played, Ohio State now minus 3.5 favorites on the road, as they probably should be. They've looked like the second best team in college football. Not really close. Big time gap between them and Oregon as the number 3 seed here. But the main reason why I want to take the Ducks is, the guy you brought up, Chip Kelly. When has Chip Kelly ever come through when the lights are bright? When has Chip Kelly ever stood on business? When has Chip Kelly ever showed up when the team needed him most? Chip Kelly is a loser. Listen to the NFL guys talk about him. Listen to his former players talk about him. That guy gets zero respect. And from the stories I've heard, he doesn't deserve much. He really doesn't. And he's called one hell of a year so far. I'll give him that. But returning to his former school, you couldn't ask for a bigger spot. And you're putting your hard-earned coins on Chip Kelly against a school that fired him after he did such a shit job? Dude, I don't know, man. I think you got to fucking fade Chip Kelly and you lean into Oregon here. And I think they cover this game, maybe even win outright.
I just disagree. I hate that how bad Gabriel's looked, and maybe that's just, it's definitely sharp to take Oregon because of how bad he's looked. But I got to stick with my stand on my laurels, stick with my guns.
All right. Well, I'll see you in the Berg. Good luck out there. Good luck out there. Both you gents. All right. W plays. Any prize pick squares? Why don't we go to those first? Let's talk about some prize pick squares. Yeah. W Rav staying on here as well. I know this has been a long show, long episode. And Gootsy, don't worry. We'll finish by 3 p.m. Eastern. Okay. We'll still be on schedule here. Let's go over the prize pick squares and wrap these college football weekend plays up. Diago Pavia. We mentioned him earlier. I'm sure you guys could get behind this square. This guy's been on more talk shows in the last week or so than he's been at practice. He's clocked more hours. It's not even his fault. I'd be doing the same shit, but this team is not going to be locked, and this is the perfect time to fade Vanderbilt. I love that under in that game, Jovan. I'm going to be tailing you with that. But I really want to take Diago Pavia, who's been damn near perfect this season. One of the greatest underdog stories in college football. I can't believe people are only getting hip to this right now. We've been talking about this guy since before the season started. Now is the time we fade. Now is when we take him to throw a pick and make a mistake. Right when when people are expecting it the least, this is exactly when you want to fade that Vanderbilt team, coming off that big-time upset against Bama and fading their star QB, who's been unbelievable at protecting the football. Yeah, Kentucky's defense, nothing to write home about, but they're going to get a pick this weekend against Diago Pavia.
See, I can get with the Krabs. 100% can. Just a platter of 2 pick squares in college. That feels so cute.
That's definitely a little too cute, probably. You could definitely lean into that argument for sure. But I do like that it's one more than and one less than here. And I'm backing one guy who's, on top of the earth, on Mount Everest right now on cloud 9. And I'm fading him to throw a pick. And then I'm taking a guy who people think is the worst quarterback to ever pick up a football and throw it to not throw a pick. So it's still crabby angles here. I still really like both of these squares, guys. And Avery Johnson, if you look at some of his squares on Prize Picks as well, like his rushing yards, his passing yards, everything is showing me that he's not going to be throwing the ball a ton in this game anyways. And he's going to be utilizing his legs, which I think is a great thing, honestly, for Kansas State in the first place. But I don't think Avery Johnson's going to be taking many shots down the field. Why would he? Stick to what you're good at. Run the fucking football, dudes. You're really good at that. And looking at Prize Picks, I don't think he's going to be a factor through the air much. And that's why I really want to lean into his less than interceptions, along with the fact that he's thrown 1 million picks so far this season.
Yeah, I saw the square and I texted Krabs chat and I was like, Krabs, I have the square for you. And it was Pavia interception.
Yeah,
and he was
has
like,
to be done.
Already on the sharp report.
Diago Pavia, an absolute legend. This dude's one of the most blue-collar, hardworking players in college football. Comes from a military school, New Mexico Military Institute. Ever heard of it? No, you haven't. I'll tell you right now. Transfers to New Mexico State, stays home. His family's from New Mexico. A great story. Takes that program to levels they've never seen before, and then comes to Vanderbilt to finish up his degree. Great fucking job going to Vanderbilt, SEC school that nobody likes, but you're getting a great degree, even if you don't make it to the NFL. At this point, he might even get a shot if he doesn't throw 7 or 8 picks in this game coming up tomorrow, right? This could end up fucking everything up for him, but it has to be a fade spot for Diago Pavia.
I have some breaking news.
Gucci.
Tigers Guardians game is today. They moved it up because of weather.
Today?
Dude, what?
Yes. Tigers Guardian moved up to Friday afternoon due to weather.
Dude.
How the fuck do you move it up to Friday?
I don't know.
How do you think the teams feel about that?
They probably are pissed.
I mean, Detroit was going to go with, what, Scooball tomorrow?
Yeah.
Is he even going to be able to pitch today?
It'll start. Oh, wait. No, it's moved up tomorrow. My bad.
It's still tomorrow, but moved up earlier in the day?
It's at 1 o'clock.
Good.
Okay.
Okay. Dude, we fake
Blame all sports news on Instagram, not me.
Okay. And GG Goods. Well, they did move the game.
Dude.
It's earlier in the day.
Couple hours.
Hey. Look, they did move the game. Okay, but not a different day. Just a different time. Goodsy, look, very rarely do you ever see a Goods miss shot.
Yeah,
the guy shoots 95% from the field.
I'm not going to say what I was just going to say. All right,
okay. Gates, it's not that big of a deal, man. Okay. Really doesn't matter. All right. Prize Pick squares. Let's move. Let's groove. Let's go to Jovan's, and then we'll go to Rav's. What do we like?
Start with Caleb Johnson. Touched on that. Love Iowa in that game. Like I said, the Washington pass defense has been fantastic, but the run defense still gets gashed. And what worse of a matchup to get than you're going to Iowa on a 9 a.m. body clock time against one of the best running backs in all of college football and an offensive line that I think is going to punish you for all 60 minutes. So high line, obviously, because of who Caleb Johnson is. I am taking that and running because I think that is beautiful matchup. Just like I think that that Friday game, I took Kyle Monaghan. Like I'm going to keep doing it with Washington as long as you have offensive lines, offenses, and running backs like this. So I'm taking Caleb Johnson and then Quinshon Judkins. This I love that Rav mentioned the running backs with what Chip Kelly does with that offense. They got Quinshon Judkins for a game like this. This is a scheme that Chip Kelly is obviously very familiar with in the Pac-12, not just coming from his old school, but you can't beat him with Travion Henderson. Like Travion Henderson's fantastic, but he works when you're running inside the tackles against Michigan States, against the Iowas. And you've seen Quinshon Judkins, like his touches kind of keep climbing up there. And I think it's for this exact reason. This is where you beat him with speed in the run game. When Will Howard can't throw the ball downfield because he's Will Howard and just a backup quarterback in Ohio State clothing, you go to Quinshon Judkins, you go to your guy. I think he's going to get absolutely fed in this game, and he's going to have a couple highlight reel plays that probably win them this game or, put him in get the name out there on social media for a couple weeks. I feel like he's going to have a crazy clip in one of these games, but I think he's going to get absolutely fed. I think this is a Judkins game because I don't believe in Will Howard and going on the road. If they're going to win this game, which I do believe they do, you give the ball to your guy that's going to make guys miss in space, especially against a defense that's built on speed. It ain't Travion Henderson. That's Quinshon Judkins. So I will take that. He also has a weird receiving yard square up, so I included
Yep.
the combo just in case. But I think he does a lot of it on the ground.
Yeah, I really like his receiving yard square. That's 6.5. Looks kind of weird. Had -2 yards against Iowa in that last game too. Sure. All right,
Yeah, I
Judkins
do feel
guy.
like you know what kind of is in the back of my head too, not just the fact the square is weird. Chip Kelly, I think, is going to give him the ball a shit ton, but I feel like he's going to try and get very cute with him and use him in like a throwback screen or some random shit that maybe he busts and it works out. But I feel like he's going to try and get him the ball in a lot of weird ways too.
All right. Well, I hope he gets 75 and then doesn't do anything else because I'll be on Oregon, but I like the sell job.
Sure.
I do. Rav, let's go to your prize pick squares, man. What are you cooking up for the weekend?
A Jordan James less than. And I know you don't want to hear that, Krabs, so you don't have to go look. But Jovan, have you seen this chart?
I have seen the chart.
Averaging 110 in his last 5.
Ooh.
166 last week against Michigan State. He's going to be in a box this week. Like I said, this is Oregon's toughest matchup defensive wise, especially D line wise. Ohio State's front seven on defense has kind of been like the best part of, or like the most improved part, I'd say, out of all of, I mean, their defense was already good last year, but it's been elite. And they're not going to be ready for this. They're going to make Gabriel throw a lot, like I said, and I'm going to fade the Oregon running back from rushing. So the chart backs me up. It looks great. I love it.
Chart looks good. This is a crabby square. I do think this will be more of a Dylan Gabriel game, but you could also make the argument that he's got a sketchy pass and touchdown square up there as well with that 1.5 pass and tutties. But he's got some receivers up who have some higher lines than I was expecting. So I do think it'll be more of a passing game anyways, which helps you on the square as well and makes sense why it's a little bit lower. I think if Oregon wants to win this game, it's going to have to come at the expense of their star QB, Dylan Gabriel. And it's probably not going to be a rushing game like we've seen Jordan James do the last couple. I like the square, even with an Oregon ticket. I do.
And then next one, Jaden Blue. I'm expecting that this game to be a blowout, obviously. Shout out Primer. And Jaden Blue is going to be running. I think they're going to be able to set the tone with him early, even though the Oklahoma State defense is very good. And Danny Stutzman is an all-American linebacker. I think they'll try to get Blue either maybe outside or just away from the middle of the field. And they'll try to get him running. And with the lead, too, they're not going to stop running. So I like this square as my second prize pick square.
Okay. I also like the chart on that one as well. And I like the read. I like the angle. I like the narrative. I like the game script here with Texas probably being up late. And I like the under in the game as well. So if Jaden Blue wants to get involved and get some rushing yards and get that clock running, I would appreciate it. 100%.
He's Ryan his coattails, though, and he is like the second or third running back. So I could maybe see them going with someone behind him if it starts to get disgusting, but I hope not. I don't think it'll be too bad until late.
I was going to ask you because I know they got a couple running backs that they use, right? Now, Blue does lead the team in carries. Would you say he's the starter? Would you say Gibson's the starter?
I'd say Blue's the starter.
Yeah. I mean, that does worry me a little bit if they end up blowing out, and covering in this game like we think they do. Maybe they do go to Gibson a little bit, but, it is a rivalry game. Wouldn't be shocked if they just keep their foot on the gas as well against a team that's really taken their lunch money for the last 5 years. So
he also gets used in the pass game a lot. So I don't know if he has a pass plus receiving square, but I would love to take that too, honestly.
He does. Yes. He's up for 16.5 receiving yards, and he's up for 85.5 rushing receiving combo.
Yeah. I mean, I like either of those. They love feeding him in the pass game.
Jovan, thoughts on these two squares?
Yeah, I don't hate those. I think we definitely disagree on the game script part of it a little bit, so it's not my favorite, but I do think like you're going to have to settle Quinn Ewers in if you have a quarterback who's coming back for their first game off an injury playing a Brent Venables defense. I mean, have fucking fun. You're going to have to run the game or run the ball early in the game, and he's probably going to check into a couple dump downs when they send pressure at him early, so that's probably a lot of Jaden Blue.
All right. Before we move and get Rav out of here and talk about some NFL, would love to go over some honorable mentions. And if you guys have any in your back pocket, any plays or prize pick squares that we didn't get to today, let's let the people know right now for college football on Saturday. And I'll throw a couple at you guys first. Louisville getting 7.5 on the roads. to a fraudulent UVA team that has impressed me, and I do like their QB, like I've talked about a lot, but I like their QB in a year or two. I do. Calandria, I think he'll be pretty solid for them, and I'm kind of, not looking forward to those matchups for VT against him in his junior and senior year, but in this matchup, in this spot, against a Louisville team coming off of 2 embarrassing losses, they've looked like absolute shit. UVA's 4-1. Nobody's talked about it a single time. Nobody's given them any respect. They shouldn't. They stink still. They're a fraud 4-1. Louisville rolls them on the road. Like them opening up -8 in this game, I don't even care if it's getting pulled back because we're seeing UVA get all the bets. It looks like one of the easier plays on the boards. People thinking Louisville's a fraud after 2 bad losses, people buying into UVA at home. UVA could not have less of a home field advantage. It literally doesn't matter if they're playing at home or on the moon. Gives them 0 advantage either way. Give me Louisville to finally, pull off a big-time win and get some anger out as well against a moose shit defense.
I could not agree more. I already have Louisville on my card.
Good. Jovan, I feel like this wouldn't be right if we don't bring up the Cal Bears during the stream today.
Especially with Rav over here. I am entering Berg with him on this one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fighting so many battles this weekend, dude. Fuck.
Yeah, there's a lot of battles. But undefeated Pitt is going to have a 1 next to that loss column after
tomorrow. Buff Dip says need Cincy UCF thoughts. Jovan, you got Cincy thoughts as well since you're the Cincy sharp?
Yeah, I feel like I get one of Cincy and Cal outright. I wouldn't be shocked if it's Cal because that's kind of the narrative that I want to lean into more. But I feel like the wheels are kind of falling off of UCF. And I talked about this with DeGen, I think, in his stream too. You remember when Oklahoma State 2 years ago, like they lost all their teams. Some of them were hurt. Then everybody transferred out. And then they started getting their shit kicked out of them every game. UCF looked really bad the last couple of weeks. And now everybody's starting to transfer out and maintain their eligibility. And KJ Jefferson's fucking starting beef in the locker room, and RJ Harvey is not on the same page with the OC. And so you got Cincy coming off a bye week where they really needed it because everybody was really banged up after that Texas Tech game. Now they're getting back healthy. And now the hurricane throws a wrench into it all because they weren't able to practice much. UCF wasn't either. So I mean, maybe it's a little obvious. I don't know, but I think Cincy, this is their get back game that they need.
Okay. West Virginia, +3.5. Surprised that nobody brought that game up or had that in their sharp report, but I want it on record. I will be on WU on the spread. I don't care that they've moved from +2.5 to -2.5. This is one of those spots where I care more about the opening line than the closing line, and the fact that WU, who's looked like rat meat pretty much all season, and a team that I believe is much better than they've showed. And although I love the Cyclones, that's my fucking conference champion that I gave out before the fucking season started. I do think this is their one loss. And I think this is their one spot where they get let down here a little bit, or they let down their fans. Rocco Becht, great young QB, really like this kid, but on the road in Morgantown, you can't really ask for a harder atmosphere to play in. And W, after a really bad start, they did pull off back-to-back wins, and they do have a little bit of momentum now. And I like Garrett Green. I'm the Garrett Green guy, blue collar, comes from the MAC. This kid works his butt off. I'll take him, a veteran who's played way more snaps than Rocco Becht on the road here, at home with a couple points. I'll be on that spread.
You know what I don't like, which I guess for this bet I like, because I'll be on West Virginia with you. I hate that Iowa State's been playing with their food the last couple weeks. Because even in the game that they shut out Houston, that game was 3-0 in the third quarter. And then Baylor was going band for band on them, and they spawned up 14-0 or 14-3. And then eventually Iowa State answered and covered and blew them out of the water. But they've been starting a little slow in these games. And I feel like when you're on the road in Morgantown, that's probably not the place where you want to do that, especially if they've had a couple coverage busts that are really bad for an Iowa State defense. So I feel like West Virginia, as much as I like Iowa State, they probably do get them.
Hi. Rav?
Yeah, I like that one. I was a little scared about it. Didn't put it on the card, but one I did put on the card. Syracuse first half money line against NC State.
Nope.
NC State has been struggling horribly to get going in the first half of every game that they've played. In fact, point margins in first half compared to second half for NC State. First half -64, second half +29. So they've been struggling. I'm taking Syracuse to at least win the first half off of that.
All right. Well, I hope we both win on that one because I hate to say it, guys. I probably will be on NC State. in the spot against Syracuse after Syracuse had that crazy legacy win. I feel like I'm just mandatory have to bet NC State, who is coming off of an absolutely atrocious loss. It cannot get worse for NC State. This team's a fucking joke. Maybe they've given up by now. Like, we'll be able to tell pretty early in this game if they have. If the Wolfpack have packed it up, for the offseason, then you got a chance here. But I do like NC State, a team that hasn't covered yet this season. For some reason, only getting 3 points at home against Syracuse, who's looking mighty fine. I think we finally see Syracuse's QB, who's looked okay so far this season, hasn't made big mistakes, finally fail and let his squad down here on the road.
McCord has definitely been way better than I thought he would be.
Yeah, but you can still tell if you're
last week he tried to lose a game.
Yeah, he did, and it was honestly impressive. They still won.
Yeah,
it was impressive. And also, their star running back is extremely banged up, Syracuse. So, he's had some extra time, I guess, to recover from that Friday night game, but he was banged up as heck in that game, and he pretty much won them that game. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't look like himself against NC State here on the road.
Yeah, we could both win this one, though.
Yep.
Good.
Georgia Tech game real quick, and then we'll go to, I think, one more. Georgia Tech, UNC. I don't know if I want to do it again, folks, but I would lean UNC in this spot.
I don't bet UNC in this economy.
I don't blame you one bit. They fucking stink. But I would lean them plus 4.5 at home. I would. You know what? I might end up betting them. They haven't covered yet this season. God damn it. Haynes King is up for that. Haynes King is up for a nasty pick square. Like, that one might be trouble for Georgia Tech.
In 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was not really a tough sell there from chat.
Rav level of foldage.
Give me the Tar Heels.
Oh.
Give me the Tar Heels. Plus 4.5. Yep. Guys, it's the ACC. These teams stink. They're all going to beat up on each other. They're all going to be close.
Except Cal.
Yep, except Cal, sure. All right, Hawaii plus 20.5. Jovan, I don't want to let this one get swept. I know you want to talk about the Rainbow Warriors late night. You've been talking about them all week.
Yeah, can't get swept. I'm taking them. And I might even have a sneak G&T fade on the Prize Picks app this weekend. Wow. somebody's got to do it. I want to do it. Ranked teams don't very often go into the island and come out unscathed. Let's say that. I think it's going to be a close game. And as much as I love Boise State, I don't want to fade them too much because we were talking about them. I thought they're going to make the playoff before the season started. They were the favorites. I mean, not the hottest it takes, but I still think they are, and everybody loves JT at this point. But the run and shoot offense coming off a really bad game. They just lost to one of the worst teams, I think, in FBS football in San Diego State. But the difference was they weren't on the island for that. We all know weird shit goes down on the island. And I really want to lean into it. And I find it pretty interesting that that line was very quick to cross the 3-touchdown line and really won't move back. So I will be all in on the Rainbow Warriors, surely. They were next up on the underdog list if Florida wasn't on there.
Over.
Under.
Get down with the over. I think Hawaii's offense is going to do better than expected, but I think Ginty is not going to do nearly as good as people think either. It's kind of in between.
I'd be surprised if there's a single wager on this under.
That's a good point.
Probably not much.
On the planet. Right? Come on. Got to be the under. Got to be Hawaii. Keep it simple. Just take Hawaii on the spread. We'll meet at the cash counter. Okay?
GT.
Any other
3.5 rush yards.
I was going to say, what square are you fading for him?
I might fade that. It's the only square up right now, so I'm fading that.
Only one up for him? I mean, yeah, it's got to be that. You know they're going to put up a touchdown square, though. Or they're going to try to.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to fade that. I don't know if I want to fade that.
All right.
We have a very big MAC game. Sorry that I keep holding you guys up. There's a big MAC game this weekend I'd love to get your opinion about.
Really?
Oh.
NIU at Bowling Green.
Oh. NIU, man. Talk about a team that got out to a great start and maybe drank the Kool-Aid a little bit, right? The Huskies.
They're like the who was I just thinking of? I don't know. They're just one of those teams that we realize is really not that good. And
no,
I would like
Bowling
to say
Green
that
hasn't
Bowling
beaten
Green,
them in 10 years.
Yeah, I would like to say that Bowling Green is a lot better than what they've put out, but they keep not showing it.
Yeah, I was way higher on Bowling Green before the season. As of right now, I mean, I don't even know what the heck I would take in that game, man. I'd probably take Bowling Green, but I wouldn't be happy about it.
Yeah.
once NIU wins a game like that against Notre Dame, like they're pretty much unbettable the rest of the season because simpletons, pea brains, just look at them and just blindly bet them, thinking that, oh, they beat Notre Dame, they could beat fucking Bowling Green. I don't know, man. I'm still waiting for Bowling Green to show up and be that team they were, that I thought they'd be in the preseason. They really have not played well besides that Penn State game where they covered but didn't win. I think maybe we see that Bowling Green squad at home here. I'd probably lean them, but I'm not betting that game. No.
Yeah.
No. All right, chat. If you guys have any more questions about college football, please drop them under the college football weekend preview tweet that we're going to post later today or tomorrow. Drop those college football questions under that BTL tweet, and we will answer those puppies. I'll make sure I go through them. Okay, we don't have any more time for college right now. We got to pivot. WRAV. Good luck on your journey, staying undefeated in your one college or your one football bet per day. Really like that segment that you're doing, man. So keep killing it. Stay hot. Do you know what you're going to take today? Do you know what you're going to lock in?
Thanks, fellas. Yeah, I'm probably going to take UNLV spread and just hope that I don't get backdoored.
Okay. I like the play. I do. I like where your head's at, Raph. Do me a favor. Make sure you don't put too much money on Ohio State this weekend. Okay. I don't need you down bad. All right. I'll catch you, my man. Thanks for coming on. Stay hot, Raph. Stay hot.
GG.
All right. Gatesy, I know we got to pick up the tempo. We got to pick up the pace. Now, I will say, we only have me and Jovan on here for NFL this week. Trent's sick today, so we are going to power through these puppies and make sure we're out of here in the next 45 minutes-ish. Okay? Jovan, maybe we could start out with the NFL weekend preview opening segment here. Let's hit it.
Why not?
All right, chat. Big NFL weekend coming up. We've got the fucking Commanders versus the Ravens on at 1 p.m. for some reason. Gootsy, we're going to need to get you on here and do a little report on that here shortly. But we'll start out with our plays. All right, let's start out with the snooze fest. You guys know the drill. We'll start out with some unders here, and I'll get going here with Javon's Bucks. This one's not personal, Javon. I'm sorry, just business, okay? But I have to fade your Bucks this week. A team that historically struggles against the Saints at times, a team who is, I thought they started out really hot this season, but their offense has not impressed me too much in recent weeks, and they are coming off of 2 losses in their last 3 games. Kind of seems like some of that Bucks magic from last year in the beginning of the season might have worn off a little bit. And although they did put up a 30-piece against the Falcons and Kirk Cousins in their last game, I'm going to be on the Saints in this spot, and I don't think it's going to be because this game goes over. Okay, we'll talk about the Saints in a moment, but I also want to fade the Bucks offense in this spot. If you look back at how they've done in recent matchups, these games typically are way more low scoring than people expect. I mean, we've seen 5 straight unders in this series, and I think we get another one here, but I'm a little bit worried about the Saints offense with a new QB under center who's not a dickhead like Derek Carr. Maybe that offense wakes up, they hit the reset button, and they show up against this Bucs defense that I really think is overrated, or at least not good. And they've been over-exceeding expectations a little bit at points this season, but I think we saw their true colors against Kirk Cousins and the Falcons in that last game. And I'm not saying Spencer Rattler's going to have a legacy game, but I do think they'll be able to move the rock enough to at least, punt and put the Bucs in bad field position, or maybe even keep this one within the number that we're going to talk about here in a moment. But the Bucs offense is not going to shine on the road against the Saints. They never do. They're not going to this week. There's some weird prize pick squares up there for Baker and co that I think I'm going to lean into and take the less thans on because I don't see the Bucs offense showing up here on the road. I think this Bucs team is only going to get worse, as the season goes on, unfortunately.
Sure. I definitely disagree. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But
wow.
Yeah, we'll enter Berg on that one. Kind of.
Okay.
I guess not with this one, but the other play.
Very curious to hear it. Let's hear the under in Atlanta, Carolinas.
Gross under.
Yep.
Because the Falcons just had their other 2 divisional games against the Bucs and against the Saints the last 2 weeks. The Saints game had 50 points. The Bucs game had 66. I mean, both of those absolutely soared. Now, just for the second time all year, they're going on the road. And granted, it's to Carolina, so I'm not going to pretend like it's some ridiculously hard place to play, but they are going outdoors. And Kirk Cousins just threw the ball 50 times. Now, you face a Carolina team, which how do you beat them? Like, obviously, the secondary is not great, super banged up, but the only thing that's banged up more than that is the defensive line. So I think it's going to be a lot of Bijan, but it's probably also going to be a damn sure a lot of Tyler Algier too. So Kirk ain't throwing the ball 50 times again. It's not going to be one of those games. It's going to be a game where they're going to pound the rock. I do think they stall out more than people expect in the red zone too. And the Panthers, I mean, they had their one win sanity week with Andy Dalton, and the offense has really stalled out since then. So feel like even though this one may hurt to watch as an under better, I think you get there. And there's going to be a couple field goals in the red zone that help that out. Unlike last game with the Falcons, where they didn't even need to get to the red zone because all their touchdowns were 1,000,000 yards.
Okay. Like this play. I thought it made a little bit too much sense, but I mean, look at Atlanta's last game. I mean, there was like 60 plus points combined in that one. So I also like the Falcons defense. I think they're a little bit better than they've shown. And I mean, the Panthers, if they want to try to run the ball 1,000,000 times in this game, I don't know how that's going to go. That's really the only way they found success in recent weeks. Are they going to hand the ball off to Chuba 1,000,000 times? Well, I hope so for fantasy purposes, but I think this is a pretty good wager. Taking this under, fading both these offenses, fading Kirk after that big time comeback, and just fading the Panthers in general.
Sure.
I like it. All right, let's move on to some overs, some more exciting plays that we like this weekend. And I am all over the Cowboys on their team total. I think they cover. I think they win. And I think they put up some serious points. And I've looked, did some line shopping for this play. I already locked it in at 23.5. It's moving up to 24.5 on some of the quicker moving books, which is a great sign. We'll probably see it at 24.5 most places soon anyways. Like the over in points in this game. And we get a good old-fashioned shootout between Dak Prescott and Jared Goff in this one. But I do think the Cowboys, carry the majority of the weight offensively in this game, and I'm really liking them to go over their team total here at 23.5. I think their offense shows up. I know they have an avenue. They have a lane in the NFC East, and although the other teams around them, besides the Commanders, aren't playing great, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys show up and have their best offensive performance of the season. They're coming off of 2 straight wins. They weren't impressive wins, although I do think that win on the road at Pittsburgh tells me something about this Cowboys team. They're better than people expect. And they're going to figure it out this season. I wouldn't be surprised if they overcome and take over first place down the line, a little bit closer to the end of the season against the Commanders. But this week, I do like them scoring against this Lions defense that, honestly, dudes, like I really like this Lions defense in years past, but there's something off with this squad this year. We even saw Geno in that last game. I know they lost, but putting up 29 points, a lot of it was garbage, but still not really impressed with this Detroit Lions defense. And I think with this total moving up, I almost just took the over myself, going up from 49.5 to 52 now. I'm loving Dallas in this game. I figured, you know what? Fuck it. I'll cut out the Lions, not loving them in this spot. Maybe the Cowboys defense keeps playing better and better. I'll avoid any fluke shit there and just take the Cowboys to score some points in this spot.
Yeah, I'm in on that.
Good.
I like the Cowboys.
Good.
Last chance with me backing anything points related in Browns games, but now you have the Eagles, who are coming off of a much needed bye. It makes all the sense in the world when this is also the week where everybody's finally getting to the counter with, I feel like this is the time the noise has been the loudest about Deshaun in that offense. And it's Jameis time, yada, yada, yada. The offensive line has been fucking terrible. Like Amari Cooper has not been thrown like catchable passes. I've seen that all over the feed. Now he gets to face an Eagles defense that has been absolutely moose shit at every single level. And you think they're going to be better because they're coming off of a bye? I don't think so. I think the Browns are going to score points, but I really just haven't seen enough from the Browns defense either. Like, I think if anything I want to lead into in this game, it's a fat spread for the Eagles. I've seen all the talks about the liability for the Eagles. I think that's going to be every week when they're playing against the Browns, but they're coming off of a bye. Offensively, they got much healthier. Obviously, you're going to see Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown this week. I think they torch that Browns defense, especially because that matchup with Kellen Moore against that defense is beautiful. That's a scheme he's torched many years in the past, and it's a heavy man coverage scheme, which is really, that's what their whole offense is built to destroy. So, like, I haven't seen it enough from the Browns defense really so far this year, and I don't think that's going to continue. I think you're going to get points and make the Browns chase the game, and Eagles defense is bad enough to where I just believe they might.
Yeah, I like this over. I like points in this game. And I think Deshaun Watson might even cover, as much as I hate to say it.
Kind of think so too. I didn't want to take it though.
Yep. You look like a real piece of shit if you did.
Yeah.
Backing Deshaun Watson for one more week. You can't be doing that.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that. This is the right way to do it. Take the over. Eagles probably put up some points as well. I don't see a world where if Cleveland doesn't cover, which I think they do, this game doesn't go over. I like points. Agreed.
Sure.
All right. Let's keep moving and grooving here, gents. Let's get us some blowouts. Teams we think are winning big. Some favorites that we like this weekend. And I'm going with the Titans. It's nasty. It's gross. I'm really hoping Will Levis plays. He's trending in the right direction. And I'm done with confirmed he's playing. W's.
Yeah, I believe so.
And I don't love taking -2.5s, but when you have the moose shit Titans, who have looked like one of the worst teams in the NFL this season, are, favorites against the Colts, who might not have won that last game against the Jags. They blew it, but the offense has not been the issue, even with the QB changes. It's been fucking crazy to watch, but I'm, gonna step up and fade this fucking Cinderella narrative here with Joe Flacco and the Colts, and I'm gonna lock in the fucking Titans here at home as favorites. They have no reason to be favorites in this spot besides them being home. I know they're coming off that big win against Miami in their last game, and they've had a bye week in between to kind of hit the reset button. But this Titans team, I was so high on preseason, Jovan, and they've really let me down so far this season, made me look like a fool. I feel like after that bye week, they hit the reset button. They go back to their roots here. I trust in Callahan. I'm not a big Colts guy. I'd sell high on the Colts here in this spots, even after a loss where they still looked pretty good and they almost won that game against the Jags in a high-scoring affair. Sell on the Colts and their offense. Back the Titans, a team that spent more money than any other squad in the fucking offseason out of any NFL team. They're going to hit the reset button during that bye, and Will Levis is going to come out. He's going to get one more shot, and he's going to make it count against this bad Colts defense. Bad. They are bad at football.
This is one of the best matchups he's going to have all season.
If he can't do it in this game, he can't do it at all.
It's also like, it's interesting to me because with the Colts lines, like they were plus 1.5 against the Steelers, which I thought was odd. Then like they were plus 2.5 against the Jags with Joe Flacco starting. Now AR is starting, and they're plus 2.5 against the fucking Titans. Like we know the Jags always get a lot of line respect, and that's why we're on them half the time. And they're getting the same line as the Titans, especially now with AR coming back and starting. Say what you want about how you feel about the offense, which is better with Flacco or AR. But if we're talking market respect, it certainly doesn't come with Joe Flacco. It comes with the starter. So that's a little odd to me. The line like completely flipped. They were dogs, and now they're not even close. So
yep,
talk about that in a bit. But taking the Bucs, Krabs. I know you don't like to hear that, but I was very scared on first look, and the more that I talked to a lot of Bucs fans, they all thought the same exact thing, which is why I kind of got into the same headspace of fading it. The last time the Bucs played a backup quarterback going into New Orleans was Trevor Siemian, and they lost that game, and that was with Tom Brady. So that was all of our first thoughts. And the more that I looked into it, not only was that the case, but the last time Todd Bowles faced a rookie quarterback that everybody thought he was going to destroy, not you because you were on the Broncos, but Bo Nix had the best game of his career, an absolute masterclass. Not that his career has been that long, but you get the point. They got absolutely destroyed, absolutely flattened. I don't think that happens here with the Saints, especially because they're built on the run, right? That's what the Saints offense is. So you can say a lot's not going to be on Rattler's shoulders, but this is a scheme that the Bucs defense across the last couple of years when they've been run by Todd Bowles has been really good at stopping. So I feel like they're going to put a lot on Spencer Rattler's shoulders. I don't see Todd Bowles going 2 games in a row against a rookie quarterback, just looking like he has absolutely no plan. And I love backing them after probably the worst performance of the Todd Bowles era, just as an overall defense last week. And now they're getting some guys back and healthy, so they're not fully healthy, but I do like them in this spot, and I think the offense will be fine too. Their best game plans, weirdly, have come against like number 1 corners, not Pat Surtain, obviously, because that whole Broncos game. But when they know that Mike Evans is not going to be incredibly involved in the game, they open up the offense so much, and I think that works in its favor, obviously, because you're going to have Evans versus Lattimore, and Mike Evans probably gets ejected at some point, but it's going to be a lot of Godwin. It's going to be a lot of Bucky Irving. It's going to be a lot of Kate Otten, and who knows who's going to be healthy in the slot, but I trust them in this spot. I feel like this is their big time get back, and I want to fade all of the Bucs fans' first thoughts, mine included, and take the Bucs.
Well, I hope you're wrong, but damn, you do know your squads. We'll see how it plays out. I will be on the Saints. We'll talk about that here in about 3 seconds. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good.
Give me the Saints plus 3.5. Well, shit. Yep, I got 2 plays in that game, and you're scaring me. But give me the Saints plus 3.5. Look, guys, let's keep it simple. The Bucs, people think they're good. I don't think they are. Sorry, Jovan. The Saints, we know they're bad. Who the heck wants to take Spencer Rattler in his debut? Seriously. Who wants to take him? Nobody. People are going to be taking the Bucs, coming off of a couple bad weeks and in a bounce back spot where their offense showed up and they weren't the problem. People can trust Baker. Well, I'll tell you right now, I'll put meat on table on Baker Mayfield not throwing more than 1.5 passing touchdowns this week. So I don't see a big offensive, burst through the passing game. Maybe it'll be Bucky Irving when he's sitting on my bench, scoring 2 touchdowns. Maybe that's the way they do it. But I'm going to trust the Saints in their defense here after hitting the reset button after a bye. I'm going to trust Marshawn Lattimore against Mike Evans. I'm going to trust the Saints, and I'm going to trust Spencer Rattler, as crazy as that sounds, to keep this within a field goal in his debut. It can't be worse than whatever they had going on with Derek Carr. I'm not even talking about the play. I'm just talking about the team chem. All right, you get him out of there, you get a bye week, you get the reset button. I still believe in the Saints squad, and I still think they could show flashes at times this season, like they did in the first 2 weeks. They have the guys. They have the pieces. Let's see if they can put it together here at home in a must-win spot with their backs against the wall and a ton of pressure. If they don't win this game, people are asking serious questions about the Saints after 4 straight losses. I'll back New Orleans here at home with the points in one of the nastiest spots of the week.
Shit play, Krabs, unfortunately. Of
Yep.
course. Got to say
Wouldn't
that.
expect anything different.
Yeah.
Wouldn't expect anything different. Jags. Now, this is a good play. That I
Yeah,
know.
it could be a good play. I'll let you take the floor for a majority of it, but obviously, like the Jags are in London, where I mean it's their fake home. They play well in London, but facing the Bears, who everybody finally starting to talk about, they had a good performance, obviously against shit teams, and it honestly could have been a lot better than it was. But they're starting to put it together, and they face a Jags team. They just get their first win, so I feel like a lot of people think the train stops here. I don't, especially with this line creeping back for no apparent reason, because the Bears are, I think, one of the most public sides of this week, which is interesting to me. I guess it's just because they're laying a little short of a spread, but I love this even more. It probably would have been in the same spot you're going to have it in if we confirmed got a Evan Ingram return, but it's looking like that's going to be the case. Evan Ingram opens everything for that offense. And I made a tweet about it, but I was looking into it. They just don't throw the ball like anywhere short of the sticks ever. They do when Evan Ingram's a part of the offense, and that's what made the whole difference, because now you just have T-Law throwing bombs for 15 yards every play, whether it's to Kirk, whether it's to Brian, whether it's to Gabe Davis, and there's no underneath option that's not named like Travis Etienne. That's the only time he throws the ball short of the sticks. So with Evan Ingram back, that gives a little more balance to the offense, and that's like especially important against a team like the Bears, who's going to play a lot of man coverage when they do it with really good corners on the outside. So somebody's going to have to be the guy. I think this offense, even though it's a tough matchup on paper against the Bears defense, they're going to look really good in this game. And especially would love that if looks like Bigsby is set to get more carries too, because Etienne is a little banged up. So that helps too, because he's fucking better than Etienne anyway. So it's the reason why this line's climbing back.
Rookie QBs 0-6 straight up and against the spread in international games. It's the Jags, plain and simple. See, I'd love to buy into that, but I know for a fact that Trevor Lawrence actually won his, I think maybe even his debut in the NFL. It was definitely in his rookie season, won a game outright, his first game over there in London. They won that game. I'm assuming they covered as well because they were probably dogs. So that's not a good stat. That's an incorrect stat, but would love to see where you got it from. Love this play. I'm going to be leaving the points at the door, and we can talk about it here with the Meat on Tape segment. Give me the Jags on the MO. Love it. You can keep the point. Don't need it. They're winning this game. Just like I talked about before last week, guys, this Jags team is not only winning, but they're going to make the playoffs as well. So I hope you lock that in. They're going to make history and be the second team ever to start 0-4 and make the playoffs. Okay. And they have to win this game. Love that the spread got all the way up to Bears -3 after Sunday. And now it's trickled all the way down to -1 for the Bears. And the Jags have tons of experience playing overseas, right? It's almost like their second home. People are hip to that. I don't love how hip people are to that, but I do love how bad the Jags have been this season, how good Caleb Williams looked for the first time really this season in that last game. And this is the perfect spot to fade and back a Jag squad that finally showed they can get a win. They saw one get through the hoop in that last week. Shout out the Jags finally coming through and not blowing that game. Their offense looked good enough to me. I think with or without Evan Ingram, they win this game. And I want to fade the Bears coming off of back-to-back covers and back-to-back big wins. People are starting to talk about Caleb Williams and the Bears. They're saying they're playing good football right now. This is the exact spot to fade. Let's take the Jags in their second home. They pull off the upset. In my opinion, it's not an upset, but they are plus chicken.
There you go. And I don't need to say too much about this one either, but Will Levis on the Titans against that Colts defense. That's one of the reasons he's in the go well for games like this against defenses that are very banged up. And this is, again, probably the best matchup that the offense is going to see all year by a pretty wide margin. So the offense is going to look great. You know, the defense is a lot better than people give them credit for. So I kind of hope we see Anthony Richardson, because we have a lot of room for mistakes on the outside against really good corners like Snead. And then the pass rush has been really good too. They've struggled in the run game at times, but I don't really think that's going to be where you're going to hurt them, because there's no Jonathan Taylor. So give me the Titans here gladly.
Okay. Love the Titans and love the Jags. All right. One dog, one favorite. Both those are cashing. We'll meet you guys at the cash counter. W plays. Love the NFL slate this weekend. If you guys can't tell, let's go to the Prize Pick squares. Let's power through these puppies. Had to put it on there. One last punch. Sorry. Baker Mayfield, less than 1.5 passing tutties. It's green as ma. The dude's had no problem moving the rock. I love the under in this game. I love the Saints. Fade Baker Mayfield. I'm sorry, Jovan. It's not personal. Love Baker Mayfield as a guy. I love him as a player, as a leader. I think he's one of the more underrated QBs in football, but not loving this Bucs team right now. And I want to fade him. I'll take Baker Mayfield less than 1.5 passing tutties in a game where I think the Saints defense shows up for the first time really this year.
Say it might be kind of fair because I think Bucky's scoring twice.
Okay. So maybe what I said does come to fruition then.
Yeah.
All right. And it's off the board because the under is so juicy and it's such a great play. Great.
Wow.
Can't make it up, chats.
Maybe you'll get
Are you kidding me?
Maybe you'll get a combo touchdown fade, Krabs.
Dudes. And then CeeDee Lamb, more than 18 fantasy score. Look, I don't know how he's going to do it. Maybe it's 2 touchdowns. Maybe it's 110 yards in the air. I don't know. I don't care. The guy's reception square is crazy high. His targets is crazy high. That's because, just like I talked about and preached for 5 minutes talking about that Cowboys team total over, how are they going to do it? Well, it's probably not handing the ball off to Rico Dowdle and Ezekiel Elliott, who's 40 years old and sucks. It's probably going to be feeding CeeDee Lamb, who people don't want to take this week after that narrative that people are talking about where he shows up in the first half, does job, and then goes ghost mode in the second half. Even Trent was talking about that. Who's going to want to back CD this week after this guy doesn't do shit in the second half of games? This is the perfect time to back CD as a sharp and lean into him on prize picks and take his more than fantasy score. He is going to carry this offense, him and Dak alone, and they're going to cash this team total over combined. All right, take his more than fantasy score on prize picks. It's going to be one of the best looks of the weekend.
Yeah, I'm in on that. I'm taking CD. I'm with you.
Dubs. Let's go to your prize pick squares. What are you crafting up over there? Splooge.
Zach Ertz. Has to be done. Has to be done. This is
You're a sick pup.
Yeah, has to be done though. I'm not even that sick because it makes a lot of sense. I've taken a lot of tight ends against the Ravens, and every time we have a primetime game, people circle back to that because that's the spot where they've been very vulnerable to the defense, and that's kind of what they want you to do. They want you to feed the tight end, because you're going to have a much tougher time beating them on the outside. So I do think it's a trailing game script for the Commanders, really, whichever way you splice it. I don't think they're going to come out to an early lead in this one. So that helps. Also, the fact that you got some speed out there on the edge. So not that I think they're going to completely stop Jaden on the ground from scrambling, but I do think it's going to be an emphasis, as it should be, and they have the guys and the personnel to do it. But like I said, Baltimore's given up a lot to the tight end position, and I feel like this is the perfect spot for Zach Ertz to get involved quite a bit, especially when you have the guys on the outside that the Ravens do. I do think we have a solid floor of points in this game, whether it ends up going over or under, but this feels like the spot where you're going to need Jaden Daniels to check the ball down a little more than he's done in the past couple games when he's played much, much worse defenses. And I think a lot of these targets go to Zach Ertz. He also had a hell of a lot of targets for only 10 yards, I think, in his last game. You can fact check me on that, but there were a lot of weird passes that didn't bounce his way. Like Jaden Daniels was pump faking and then running when he could have thrown the ball. He's a lot more involved in this offense than it seems like if you're just going to look at the box score. So I feel like this is the time where all those targets turn into yards against this defense.
And real quick,
it's his over.
Yeah, it's supposed to be more than, right? It's supposed to be more than. Apologies, chat. That's not cool. That's on us. That is a more than. And if you couldn't tell that by the sell job, go talk to a doctor, but that's on us for the graphic. Yeah. More than 29.5 receiving yards. Okay, more than receiving yards. More. W play, W sell job. I'm sure they've joked about it all week as well with Daniels missing Ertz with a wide open touchdown last week.
Yeah,
I'm sure they've joked about it, right? He does owe him one. He does. I wouldn't be surprised if Zach Ertz gets involved in a game that I really want to find a way to take the under in. It's the squarest over of the weekend, but I just don't know if I'm going to be able to do it because in my brain, I'm just seeing a crazy electric shootout with offenses going nuts. B-Rob might not play this week. Eckler's banged up, although he did practice fully yesterday. He's got a messed up heel now. Probably still not going to be at full strength. I do think it's going to be a Jaden Daniels game through the air or with his legs himself. I don't think we're going to be handing the ball off as much. I think it's got to be Zach Ertz. And also, if you think about how to beat that Ravens defense, we can get Gutsy up here in a moment too. It's probably got to be through the air, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Goots agrees.
Yeah.
This is Ravens. Gutsy,
I mean,
go ahead.
This is probably the most hyped up Ravens Commanders game that I can think of in the past that I've.
Besides the Super Bowl victory we had in the preseason, of course.
Well,
but yes.
Yeah, but whatever. Interesting game because I love Jaden. Big Jaden guy. Drafted him in most of my leagues.
Yeah.
So I almost want to see him do well. But This feels like if it wasn't the Commanders Ravens, it would be the spot where they would lose, and you would say so.
For sure.
Yeah. So
100%. I
that's
feel like,
kind of what I'm thinking about here.
I need the
yeah,
Ravens to muck.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Jovan thinks the Ravens muck.
I mean, I kind of lean that way, but I need them to muck because next week you get the first game in Tampa on Monday night after the hurricane.
Bergs.
Talk about a narrative during a battle of Berg. I think I ain't taking the Bucks, man, in that game.
Back-to-back Bergs.
Well, I know Lamar Jackson is like 101 against the NFC in his career. He's 9-0 in his last 9 games against the NFC. He's not actually 101, guys. He's like 20-1 though.
20
Still
one,
crazy.
Like 19-1, something like that.
It's still crazy. Yeah. He's due for a loss to the NFC. He is. And I do think the Commanders cover this game. Goots, you're 100% right with if this was any other team, I'd probably be on the Ravens on the Sharp Report. But, I feel like at this point it might be kind of clear that the Commanders are one of those teams that you just can't fade right now.
Yeah.
You just can't fade them.
True.
I've learned that the hard way, unfortunately. I've been bullied. I've been yelled at, screamed at, chirped, and I deserve every bit of it, every single chirp, because fading the Commanders in those games was a moose shit wager.
Yeah.
It just was plain and simple. And like I've mentioned a million times, I do feel like this team gives me Joe Burrow rookie year vibes, where the books just have not caught up to how good they really are, right? New regime, new QB, new everything, right? When stuff like that happens, it's not that common. It doesn't happen a lot, doesn't happen every year. But when it does, sometimes the books just don't catch up to them. And sometimes a team really is that good. We have the bodies. We have the guys calling the shots, calling the right plays. We got the right head coach as a motivator, right? I just think we might be that team.
Yeah, and I'm concerned about our defense. I mean, especially after that Bengals game. But we just brought in Dean Pease again for an assistant defensive coach. You know something's wrong when we're bringing back Dean Pease. But
it's probably not a good sign.
No, definitely not. But I mean, we have the guys on that end of the field, so we'll see. But
yeah, I'm done fading the Manders. Tell you that much. Not gonna bet them. I got enough invested, guys. Trust me. I will be watching that game every second of it.
Yep.
But I wouldn't recommend the Ravens. I wouldn't recommend fading the Commanders for the first time this season. I can say that confidently because I do think this game, maybe it's a square over that smacks. People have been bitching all fucking day, all week about this game not getting flexed, and they're right. They should be bitching. Fuck CBS. Honestly, CBS a bunch of hoes for gatekeeping this game. Straight up. Straight up. CBS, they're costing us an elite Sunday night football matchup.
Yeah.
And the fact that it is a 1 p.m. game, though, makes me think that maybe the offenses do show up and maybe the lights won't be too bright for Lamar and Jane Daniels.
Or at least a 4:00 game with Tony and Jim calling it or something like that.
Would be sick.
Yeah.
Would be absolutely epic. Yep.
Yeah, we get to watch Steelers Raiders instead. So
great.
It's pretty good.
Awesome. And the Commanders defense, haven't heard a single person mention anything about them. Don't know how if you've watched them play the last two. Like, do people just not watch them play? Do people just look at Daniel's highlights on Twitter? They watch the 2.5 minute clip and they just check the score and check the box stats? I don't know. Do they not watch this fucking team?
It's just like Ellie in baseball. No one watches Ellie play. They just see the clips of splooging on the feet. Like, that's all it is.
Nobody even watches them. People in chat, worst defense. Did anybody watch the game last week?
Dude, their front seven is fucking good. And the
Frankie Louvu's good.
The DB room has been so much better than expected, too.
Haven't heard any chirps about Emmanuel Forbes in weeks since he's returned from injury. The guy's been a strap. Oh, their defenses look great the last 2 weeks, especially last week. They're trending in the right direction.
They played have been mid, respectfully. They just played against Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison. What are we talking about?
A team that just beat the 49ers in their last game. It's crazy watching this team, the Commanders, before the week, every week. Everybody's saying, oh my God, the Commanders are so good. And then after the game, they say, oh, well, the team they just played stinks. Maybe the Commanders are just good at football. And we just stick with that first take. I don't really understand why people are acting like our defense is absolutely useless. Watch the games. It's not the same defense from week 1 when we were down there in Tampa. Watch the games. Frankie Louvu just had one of the best performances on the defensive side of the ball all season for any player. Haven't heard a peep about it. Nobody gives a shit. That defense is starting to wake up, folks. They are. And the Ravens defense not trending in the right direction, although that's a defense that I would trust to reel it back in and figure it out a little bit, especially against a rookie in his biggest game of his career, right?
Yeah.
This game's got my head in a blender. My gut tells me it's the Commanders spreads and it's the under, but not going to get to the counter with anything because I got enough invested in this puppy. Gootsy?
Yes, you should.
Can we get you up here for a score prediction? Can we get you up here for a Gootsy best bet in this game?
A score prediction. I haven't even thought about that. I do think the Commanders cover. I agree with you. So I'll go like, I don't know, 28-21, something like that.
Ooh, 28-21. Well, that might not be a cover.
28-24.
28-24.
There you go.
Okay. I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. Game barely goes over. Sure.
Yeah.
That's going to be one hell of a game.
Yeah. I'm excited.
One hell of a game.
Very excited.
Yeah, and everybody knows the trend with the dogs, all covering, right? Plus 5.5 and greater. These teams have been wagons. They've been winning outright. I mean, look, this probably isn't the spot you get cute and fade that trend with how good the Manders have looked because I think they're just one of those teams of destiny maybe. But damn, all these dogs have been covering at these big numbers. We'll see if it continues.
And my best bet, Mark Andrews getting in the end zone for the first time.
Yeah, love it, Goots. You know ball.
Yeah.
You so know ball. He's going to show up and show out and have his best game of the season by far. It's not even going to be close. He's getting a touchdown. I agree. Derrick Henry minus 265 to score. I mean, yeah, football-wise, how the heck is the Commanders' defense going to tackle that guy? I don't know. But our defensive line has played better, every single week this season. The guys, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, they're playing better as well as the season's going on. They're hearing the chirps. They're showing up. I don't know, man. Derrick Henry, we're not the best tackling team. And if he can get through that D-line, he's probably going to break one. And none of those corners or safeties are making a tackle. But
take a wild guess what the most popular square on Prize Picks is?
I mean, it's probably Derrick Henry rushing yards again. Yeah.
Oh, no. It's actually his goblin touchdown.
Okay.
That's being left on the board despite how juicy it is.
Wow. That's
84,
huge.
84K on that one.
That's huge. That's massive.
For what it's worth, his rushing yards is also in the top 6 of most popular.
Yeah. And his rushing yards was the number 1 most popular NFL square last week, and it went over still.
It did, yeah.
It went more than. Some way.
Somehow.
Wow. Okay. Gootsy, I wish you the best of luck, my man. That's going to be one hell of a game. I will be talking shit the entire time during it. I wouldn't expect anything different from you either. Okay?
I ain't even looking at my phone. I'm going to be locked into the TV.
Let's have a Sunday. All right? Let's hope the Commanders keep it close, keep it competitive, maybe even pull off an upset. Okay? Awesome. Where are we now? I just got locked into Commanders talk. Chris Godwin?
Yeah,
Chris Godwin?
I'll make it quick because I know we got to hurry.
Yep.
Mike Evans is on Marshawn Lattimore. The Saints get torched a couple places. They get torched in the slot. They get torched by tight ends. Like Kate Otton's probably going to have a solid game. Bucky Irving is going to be the lead back, so I think he has a great game. I doubt, from what it sounds like, Rachaad White is going to play, which is a big deal because he's a massive part of the short passing game. Godwin's already gotten the volume in the short passing game and in the slot. It's probably going to be doubled with Rachaad White potentially not in the fold. So I hate to say that Mike Evans is probably going to get strapped like he always does against Lattimore. Probably is. And it always ends with Godwin getting absolutely fed. So I think the offense is going to be a little better than you seem to think in that game. So I'm leaning into that a little bit. But regardless, Godwin's getting a lot of targets.
Okay. Well, you're probably right because I tried to trade for Chris Godwin in one of my leagues and it did not work out. So he's probably going to go off and have his best week of the season and return to number 1 wide receiver in fantasy football. Yep.
Yeah.
Already seen it.
Probably.
Sure. Chat. Want to remind you guys one more time here before we move. Sorry, Jovan, for cutting you off. Zach Ertz, more than 29.5 receiving yards.
Yeah.
Zach Ertz, more. Okay. Close your eyes. Don't look at that fucking graphic. More than receiving yards. Not less than. W's. All right. Let's keep moving and grooving here, gents. W Sharp report for the NFL. Rapid fire honorable mentions. We could spend 1 minute on this. I really don't have much. Like all the plays that I love, I'm more quality over quantity this weekend. All the plays that are on the Sharp report, I love. I really do, guys. Any other games that we really didn't talk about or have plays in? I don't have much.
I think we talked about the games. I will say just honorable mention squares. Titan square. Calvin Ridley, I will be taking / just Will Levis when he gets squares put up now that he officially got announced as a starter. And then Drake May is playing today or playing this week against the Texans. I sneakily think they might keep that game close. I've seen a lot of people betting that now, not just because of Nico Collins, but you know what stood out to me about Drake May, Krabs? See his rushing yard line and the square that they have up on Prize Picks?
We got a runner.
That shit
is got to be on the move.
High. 25.5 is
playing against a pretty solid D line as well. He might be running for his life.
He might be. And seeing a 25.5 line, in my opinion, is crazy. I know he's not fucking Kirk Cousins in the pocket, but 25.5 off the rip first start against the Texans, I think is pretty interesting. He also has an 11.5 longest rush, which I think is also very interesting. That's a square up. So I like his rush yards. I think he's going to be Lamar. So those are honorable mentions.
Wow. Like that Russian square a ton. Also like Jalen Polk this week.
Yeah, I guess he could fit in there too. He's his guy.
Okay. All right. Calvin Ridley, you mentioned as well. That was almost on my sharp report. And I love the fact that the coach said, yeah, we're getting you the rock more. It's on me. I have not done a good job getting you the rock. We're going to feed you this week. I just traded for him in one of my leagues. I think he goes off this week. Take him. Take Ridley. He does his job. All right. Awesome, Jovan. Love it. Great plays in the NFL this weekend. College especially. We had a ton of college angles as well. Chat, hope you guys like those plays. You don't have to write these puppies down by hand. Okay, you don't have to take a screenshot. You can if you want. We will post these puppies on the Bookit BTLX. You guys know where to find it. Okay, and also I want this on record. We have smacked 2 back-to-back 4Xs that we've crafted up at least partially on BTL. Let's make that 3 in a row. Jovan, we'll get offline here in a second and we'll craft up one and we'll post it on the Bookit BTLX as well for today. Try to make it 3 in a row. You guys better all check that post. You guys better all drop a like. You guys better tail that stuff responsibly. Okay, get involved. Get involved. Awesome. Let's move. Let's groove. Let's talk for 2 minutes about this MLB game real quick, full circle. I know we addressed it in the beginning. You're on the over. But for the people who might have joined late or missed the beginning of the show, let's give our thoughts on this baseball game tonight because we do have one hell of a game. I mean, come on. Padres, Dodgers, elimination game. Winner moves on. I've got this Padres to make the World Series future in my fucking pocket that I'm absolutely sweating buckets for. And the Dodgers, you know, I feel like with their backs against the wall, had a pretty good game 4. Do they follow that up with the game 5 win? I don't know. But I don't love seeing the Padres at plus 120. I'll tell you that much. Jovan, talk about your over real quick and any other angles in this game you like.
I like the over, and it's partially because seeing an 8 total is crazy. But I think from the time we talked about it till now, it's marinated, and it's not just because I saw the betting queen post 5U max play on fucking Padres, but I'm really starting to think it's the Dodgers that I need to be getting to the counter with in this one, Krabs, because minus 40 with Yamamoto, who everybody hates, against Darvish, who has diced that lineup, is just crazy to me, especially for the Padres, who seem to be, I mean, the Mets are right on that same track, but one of the teams of destiny that nobody thinks can be beaten in this series.
Yep. I wish I could counter. I wish I could disagree, but I fucking can't. And just look at the picket splits. Look at all the bets and money on the fucking Padres money line, dude. Look at that. Seriously, look at it.
Yeah.
Look at it. Are you looking at it?
Oh, I'm staring.
Not good. Not good. Just wait for the betting queen tweet, man. It's coming.
No, it's already happened.
Jesus Christ, man. Look, guys, I'd love to sit up here and lie and say the Padres got a pulse. They don't. They're toast. And I hope I'm jinxing this into fruition and this team advancing. But W Subby from Swamp Shine coming in as well. Let's go, Swamp. W Swamp. I'd love to sit up here and lie to you guys and say the Padres have a pulse. They don't. They're toast. Makes way too much sense. Makes an incredible amount of sense for the Padres this year to win this game. The one year they've actually been better than the Dodgers, not only against them, but just overall in general, the vibes with these teams. People would rather bet on the Padres tonight. It's not really close, especially after how Yamamoto started out that last start and with how good Yu Darvish is in his career against the Dodgers, right? Nobody on earth wants to take the Dodgers, especially this season, with that bad of a rotation, that bad of a team compared to years past. This will probably be the fucking year they get to the World Series. No, in this squad. It was always the Mets. It was always the Mets team of destiny. That's the only chance I have. I'll leave it at that. Okay? Padres are dead. Take the Dodgers tonight, chat. I don't have the heart to do it. I'm just going to let my future die. Go off into the sunset. Take the Dodgers.
There's one man that can change all of this, Krabs. You know who it is.
I mean, I already know Trent's going to be betting on the Dodgers ML. I've already factored that in.
There you
That's
go.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Already
It's
factored
already
it in.
given.
It
gets
did
canceled
move
out.
the needle.
It gets canceled out by the fact that he was on feed splooging for them being a first round exit before the playoffs started for like a week straight.
It moved the needle a little bit, Goot. So the needle went like this. It moved a little bit when I saw Trent was on it, right? But then it immediately went right back to where it was before. It didn't move the needle enough.
You might be right.
Didn't move it enough. Well, now I just saw the ticket, though. And that's a lot of units on the Dodgers ML. The needle is now moving again. The needle has begun to move back to the middle here. It's starting to tilt.
Tilting once again.
Wow, Trent. Huh. Going all in. We'll see how it plays out.
Dude.
All right. He's got a whale to win 1,000 on the Dodgers. Okay. Wow. I mean, you might as well just take him to win the World Series at that point for less. All right. Let's move. Let's groove, gents. We got to get Gootsy out of here. We got to wrap this puppy up anyways. We've been on here forever, and we've already spoon-fed you guys a million gallops for the weekend and for this afternoon. Once again, a little reminder, if you guys are looking for our plays for today, they are on the on the bottom ticker there if you want our sharp report plays. Okay, we got the winners going across there, W Gootsy and W Pickett Pro as well, showing us these splits. Okay, we got a hype train moving and grooving. We got Doodle Knight coming in, dropping a subby. Let's go, Doodle Knight. Atta boy. Dubs. All right, gents, let's wrap this puppy up. We got two things to do. Okay, we got to lock in a squad ride for today, and we got to lock in a squad ride for tomorrow. Let's get these polls up and moving. Gootsy, run that train. I want to see that shit. W squad ride yesterday, chat. W Lane Thomas, W Guardians. No chance a team that dropped back-to-back Shoogs, Bagels, Goose Eggs, zeros in the fucking score column in back-to-back games win a game, right? Well, they did. Suck it. 7-3 this month on the squad rides. Let's fucking go. Jovan, let's make it 8. All right, I like the way we're moving and grooving right now. We're locked in. We're hitting bets. And chat's giving me a chance every once in a while, too. So absolutely love it.
Like, this is
no
where
notes.
You keep giving Krabs a chance. He's locked.
No notes, no complaints from me, chat. Let's lock in. All right, I'm dialed. I love my plays today. Love all 3 of my totals. Okay, wouldn't even be mad about putting the Dodgers in there as well, but I do like that over as well from Jovan. And I like Northwestern. I like the Lightning as well, Jovan. Maybe we start out with, one of our favorite plays each.
Yeah.
And for me,
what do you got?
For me, it's got to be that Utah and Arizona State under.
Yeah, man.
Got to be that Utah Arizona State under. Has to be. I'm going to look up and see where that number's been moving and grooving to. Okay. Looks like right now it is at 46.5 still. Good. Let's take that under. I still think there's a chance that maybe we don't see their star QB come back and play. And wouldn't that be something for that under? But even if he does, I still like no points for Cam Rising in Utah and for Arizona State tonight as well.
Yeah. And
what about your plays, man?
I like Northwestern. Chat seems to be in agreement too. That play is kind of speaking to me. I agree, Wags.
Okay, let's put that in there. I'm in.
Did we get Goots comment on that game? His boys.
Goots, do you have a fucking Nukenheimer as well? Don't be shy.
No Nukenheimer on that game, but I do love fading the University of Maryland, so give me that.
Okay. Northwestern plus 11. Sure. Yep. Let's take the nerds. I'm in. Is that still what we're seeing? 10.5, I think now is what we're seeing though, which is fine. Right. I think that's what the majority of these lines are at, chat. 10.5. Yeah, it is. Yep. Okay. All right. We'll change it. We've got Utah, Arizona under 46.5. We've got Northwestern plus 10.5, chat. Let's stay locked. And let's see if we can find one more play that we're in love with for tonight. I want to keep this quality over quantity. No need to force. Now, Jovan, I do really like UNLV Utah State over. And that total is high as heck. So I'd be more than okay with just leaving that over out. And overs have not treated us as great either.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like we just had this conversation post Yankees Royals that we were leaving overs out for a little bit.
I know.
Granted, I look at your Dodgers. It's not playoff baseball. I know. That's why I was saying. I'm not nominating that. But if you feel strongly enough.
I really like that play, though, man.
That's what I was saying. I was saying you just got to be confident.
Fuck. Yeah. You want me to trust my gut? It's treated us pretty well recently.
It's all I'm asking you to do, Krabs. I could tell there was something in the gut when you were talking about the Guardians yesterday. So I was fine leaning into it.
Mm-hmm. You like that over in Dodgers Padres? That shit soaring?
Kind of getting the Dodgers now, I'm not gonna lie.
No way. You'd rather just take the Dodgers?
I would.
W pivot. Does the Trent Nukenheimer keep us from putting that in there? Is that enough to move need?
Don't think it moves enough need for me. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think it does either. Let's put the Dodgers money line in this thing. Fuck it. They're winning tonight. My future's toast. You want to stick with those 3 plays?
Nothing. No fourth from you. Just doing gut checks here.
Good to leave Northwestern, Maryland under out, especially with Northwestern, already in there with the sides.
Yeah, I might fuck around and win.
Can we please put the Lightning in? They're literally playing the Hurricanes.
Dude.
Please.
They're winning.
Are they winning?
They are winning today.
Let's put them in. Are they winning?
It's a funny but not really funny narrative, but they are actually, aside from that, winning that game.
How'd you do on the ice yesterday?
1-1, and the loser was up 4-1 in the third period and lost an OT.
Good. I don't want to back a hockey play after you got 2-0.
Yeah.
Let's put it in there. I'm in. Lightning ML. I have the hiccups now. Plus 125. Not getting worried about that steam?
No.
Okay.
They're not
All right.
the better team.
Chat, 4 plays, 4 winners for the squad ride vote today. We are 7-3 this month. We are 101, 86, and 7 in 2024. We are 279, 211, and 11 all time. Let me go ahead and say that one again for the people in the back. 279, 211, and 11 all time. That has been tracked for damn near 3 years now. That is an absurd POD streak. Let's stay hot. Let's stay dialed. Let's not get fat, happy, and complacent. And let's vote for the right fucking winner on this squad ride poll in the Twitch chat right now. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitter and you're wondering, you're asking yourself, why can't I vote in this poll? Where is it? I want to get involved. I'm getting FOMO. I feel left out. Sprint over to the Bookit Sports Twitch page and lock in your vote in the poll. It cannot be easier. It takes 3 seconds. Okay. I guarantee if you open up the Twitch app, it's probably the first thing that pops up anyways. The Bookit Sports Live. All right. Lock in, click the right button as you guys have been doing. Trust your gut. Okay. Trust your gut. Click the right button. I don't care what sport, what time, when it is, or who's playing. Just click the best sell job you heard today. Click the play you heard us talk about where you were like, damn, that's a pretty damn good angle. Damn, that's a nasty play. I'm locking that shit in. Damn, nobody else on earth is taking that. That's probably smacking. I'm going to vote for that one. Let's stay sharp. All right. You guys are the sharpest chat in all the land. Let's keep it that way. All right. Let's stay dialed. 4 plays, 4 winners, gents.
Hell of a vote.
Yeah. We got a big 3 up here right now. We haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah. I mean,
we got an even vote.
I don't want to say anything to jinx it because it's getting close. I want people to vote. Surprise Northwestern not in the lead. I like Northwestern. Your under might be Ma.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 2 things we know from this poll.
Warriors and Lightning.
Chat, 4 plays, 4 winners. Utah, Arizona State under 46.5. We've got Northwestern plus 10.5. The Dodgers on the ML and the Lightning on the ML. Locking your votes. You got 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Ready, go. Who's it going to be? And you guys are annoying as shit.
What are we?
You guys are annoying as shit. Dodgers ML and Lightning ML. Jovan pick.
Bro, run the 2 in a poll for like 30 seconds.
Dude.
Sorry, Gates.
It's 30 seconds. Short poll. Short as bomb.
Sorry, Gates. Guys, Goots has to go get a fresh haircut, and we're out here tying polls. You guys are withholding my man Goots for getting faded up and looking clean as a whistle.
That for sure means Northwestern is the play.
Probably, yeah. Chat, Dodgers ML, Lightning ML. Lock in, hurry up, go, go, go. Lock them in. Get involved. All right, change your life. Click the right button. Be smart. Be sharp. Be the guy. Make a difference. Grow your bankroll. Make some coins. Make some money. It's as simple as clicking the right button, Jovan. It really is. Just click the right button. There's winners up there. Okay? There's winners up there. What's it going to be, chat? Trying to look up the poll right now. Let's see.
Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah. It's weird when you try and run 2 polls back to back.
Yeah. The poll will be up in a moment, chat. Stick with us here.
While we're talking about it, Krabs, ideas for 5 guys, because we did at least make coin on that while we were talking about it and half crafted it on stream last week. So maybe we get ball rolling.
It's going up right now.
Let's fucking go, Gatesy. Chat, get involved. Squad ride poll is up. Jovan, just crap this up later if you're cool with that.
I mean, I wouldn't say we had to craft it up completely right now. It's just saying we're sitting here waiting for this fucking poll. Might as well talk some thoughts.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield less than 1.5 passing tutties. What do you think?
It's not on the board. It's not even an option, Krabs.
Ah, shit, it's gone. It was too sharp.
Yeah.
Well, I could definitely see a world where CeeDee Lamb gets involved this weekend.
I would love that.
Caleb Johnson, more than down to put him in there as well with that Iowa angle. I feel like those could be our 2 anchors potentially.
Those could be the anchors.
Those could be 2 anchors. Chad, hurry up. Go.
Let Judkins get swept either. I think I honestly like Judkins more than Caleb.
See, we might have to let that get swept though. That's the thing because I'm nuking Oregon.
Oh yeah, because you're on Oregon. Fuck.
Yeah. Now I would maybe pivot and take Judkins receiving yards. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Jovan, would you look at this?
Lightning by the hook.
For the first time this season, I believe, a hockey play.
If it would have tied again, I would have picked Lightning and ended the stream. So
good.
Yeah, we would have picked if it got a tie.
Let's fucking go, Gates. That's what I'm talking about, my man. We got time for one more poll. One more. DJ Fitz, one more whole card.
I guess.
Chat. Sorry, Gates. Chat, squad rides, Lightning ML for tonight. We will meet you on the ice. Okay, we'll meet you on the ice. W's. All right. Saturday squad rides. What are some of our favorite college football plays of the weekends? Well, Iowa ML is going in there.
Yeah, I know. Here's my concern, Krabs. What if we wake up and it's the fucking Jags where it's -200?
It'd suck ass.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Really suck.
That would suck. Yeah.
I feel like there's a chance.
I really like Colorado State. That should not be too juicy at this hour. Why don't we start out with that?
Yep, there you go. And on that.
Okay, Colorado State money line. I really like your Vanderbilt Kentucky under. I'm just gonna say it.
And
really fucking like that play. Chat, don't be a bozo and not vote for that if you like it just because it's an under. Be a sharp for once. Lock in. Okay, click the right button. That could be the one. That could be the right button right there in front of our face. Under 44.5, Vandy and Kentucky. Sure. What else, chat? What are some of the favorite sell jobs you heard from today?
So many Bergs, dude.
I know. I mean, I wouldn't mind putting in the Texas-Oklahoma under. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I can get down with that.
Again, not a fun play, but it's hitting shots.
Krabs, what if it was Hawaii?
Ooh. Plus 20.5.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at all the options where we're not in Berg. Like Hawaii, West Virginia. I didn't really get your Florida sentiment, but maybe them.
Would rather take Dub V than Florida for sure.
Kind of figured.
But I'd love Hawaii, and I already typed it in there. I would love to put Hawaii in there.
Let's go.
Would love to put Hawaii in there. Chad likes that Clemson play. I do too, but that is kind of a cheeky play. I would probably prefer sticking with these 4. Colorado State money line, Vandy, Kentucky under, Texas, Oklahoma under, and Hawaii plus 20.5. And just keeping it simple. I also like Arizona a lot, chat. Don't let that play get swept either. Yes. Good. Jovan, I feel like we just keep it to those 4 plays. What do you think?
Man, let's run it.
Sure. W's. Chat, 4 plays, 4 winners. This is for the BTL college football squad ride tomorrow. Okay, we will have a post about this tomorrow, but for now, lock in your votes. Get involved. Okay, don't just sit there, especially if you're doing this, finishing up your work on a Friday afternoon. I know you guys have this on an iPad in the background. That doesn't mean you can't take a second to click the right button in the poll and get involved and leave your mark. Okay, make a statement. Click the right button. I want to see chat get sharper and sharper as the day goes on. Okay, I want to see as this poll goes on, the votes coming in right where they should be. And that's probably more votes on that under in Oklahoma, Texas, but that's okay. Not surprised to see Colorado State ML not getting some love. That's all right. That team's been moved so far. I'm happy to see Hawaii getting the respect it is. I got no qualms going to the Rock for a late night squad ride. That could be the difference. We could do Hawaii squad rides and Jags ML for Sunday squad rides, and they could be within 10 hours of each other. That could be almost like 2 squad rides in the same day.
Wow.
Right? Check that math.
Yeah.
Check that data, chat. 4 plays, 4 winners. Colorado State ML, Vandy, Kentucky under, Texas, Oklahoma under, and the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors getting 20.5 against the greatest player of all time, Ashton Jeanty. Should be a good look. I would love to go to the Rock for the squad ride. I'm just going to say it. But I would also have nothing against that Vandy and Kentucky under either. My goodness. Love that play. Was going to tail that as soon as it came out of Javon's mouth.
Yes, another close race we got here.
Nail biter. Chat, get those vets in for me, will you? Please get involved. And if you guys tie the poll, we're just going to pick a winner this time. So don't try to get cute. Pull a fast one. If it ties, Goots is picking and we're moving. Okay? 4 plays, 4 winners. Colorado State on the ML. Should be a good look. Vandy, Kentucky under. Should be a good look after Pavia upsets Alabama. Under in Texas, Oklahoma. Should be a good look. Fading Texas offense. And Hawaii on the spreads. Sure. Love those plays. Who's it going to be? And we're going to the Rock, folks.
To the Rock.
We are going to the Rock. Love that. Yes. 2 words, chat. Yes. Let's fucking go. W show, WBTL Friday, as always, the best BTL of the week. If you were not here, in the beginning, you missed out. You can always go back and rewatch on the YouTube. If you're trying to lock in your winners for this weekend on Saturday or Sunday, and you don't know, you're lost. You want to get some of our winners, some of our fucking sell jobs. Go back on the YouTube and rewatch the fucking BTL from Friday. It is loaded with plays, hours of action. Okay, lock in. Always go back and rewatch on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed and make sure you have the notice turned on. W show today. Can we get some W's in the chat? Can we get some W Goots in the chat for absolutely fucking crushing it today? No notes. 0 fuck ups. Let's fucking go, dude. Smooth as silk. Love it. All right, chat. We'll meet you guys at the cash counter after we get a nice little squad ride W tonight on the ice, Lightning ML. And then we take that into Hawaii on the Rock, late night on Saturday. 2 winners. All right? 2 winners. Guys, do me a favor to all the goats still in here right now. Go to the YouTube video after we upload this puppy on YouTube. Go back and rewatch it. Drop a like on that pup. Drop a like on that puppy. And leave in the comments.
Go peep the coin toss that dropped.
Yeah, week 7.
Is that out? Let's go. Sure. 2 more things. Go watch Coin Toss. If you're not watching Coin Toss, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. That's like the best show out there right now for betting. Go watch the Coin Toss. Get your college football fix in. And leave in the comments on the Coin Toss video what your favorite college football play is this weekend. And then do me a favor, guys. Go back in the comments for this BTL on YouTube. Let me know what your favorite play is this weekend. I don't care if it's NFL, college, MLB. I don't care if it's WNBA, prize picks, straight bet. I don't give a hoot. Let me know in the comments, okay, under this BTL show, as soon as it gets uploaded, what your favorite play is this weekend. I'm going to go through those comments, and I'm going to go through the comments under the post we have for our college football weekend preview that we tweet out either later tonight or tomorrow, okay? I'll go through those. All right, let us know what you guys like. I want to know what you guys are sweating out. W's. All right, great show today. Let's close this puppy out. W Chiote as well. All right, we'll